Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Succubus Villain, The Dream of Becoming a 9 Billion Fairy Saint. Chapter 76. It's just that the name was chosen too hastily. The green dragon named himself Xiaolu, so why don't you call yourself Xiaobi? Chen Lan's thoughts wandered far away, and it took him a while to come back to his senses. Okay, little green, from now on, we are friends. When I come back from central China, I will come over to see you. Xiaolu was too big and it was unrealistic to take him out of the endless sea, so Chen Lan promised to see him again the next time he passed through the endless sea. Xiaolu is also very happy. Chen Lan is its first and only friend. Although there are many sea beasts in the endless sea, the upper limit of the mysterious spiritual world is there. Monster beasts that have opened up their spiritual intelligence are not common. It is very rare to have a friend. Xiaolu looked at Chen Lan, who was about to leave, hesitated but chose to speak. Wait, friend. Chen Lan was stunned when he heard this. He didn't know why Xiaolu called him, but he still turned back to look at it. That Chen Lan, do you still want your ice dragon that carries dragon power? Can you help me understand it? In fact, Xiaolu has always been very interested in Xuanbing Longxiang. It is obviously just a martial arts skill, but it can carry the dragon's power. It is as if it has come alive, chasing after it. It was the one who took the initiative to attack Chen Lan before, so of course it was embarrassed to open its mouth. But now, since Chen Lan takes the initiative to make friends, she can naturally ask. Chen Lan also realized that the dragon power contained in Xuanbing Longxiang was very important to monsters like dragons whose ultimate goal was dragons. Especially with Xiaolu's current state, if he could comprehend a little more of dragon power, he would be one step closer to the imperial realm. As 10 enough, after Chen Lan figured everything out, he suddenly turned around and looked into Xiaolu's huge eyes with a smile. Then a massive amount of spiritual power suddenly erupted, and 100 ice dragons containing monstrous dragon power emerged on the sea. Under the control of the law of ice, hundreds of ice dragons have different shapes and are frozen in various postures. Seeing this scene, Xiaolu was horrified. I originally thought that Chen Lan was just a bit capable. Although I didn't defeat him just now, after all, I didn't try my best. But now it seems that Chen Lan has also not tried his best. Little green, goodbye. After doing all this, Chen Lan no longer stopped and continued moving towards Zhongzhou. It took Xiaolu a while to react, but the Kowloon Agarwood chariot had already gone far. Thank you, my friend. Goodbye, The rest of the journey was smooth sailing. After Chen Lan personally accelerated the Kowloon Agarwood chariot, in just 7 days, he arrived at Tai Palace, one of the 7 major sects in central continent. This is the sect of Chen Lan's mother, Sun Jishu. 2 years ago, Tai Palace suffered a big change. Sun Jishu's senior sister knew that Sun Jishu was the empress of the Qinfengxian dynasty of the 4 great immortal dynasties in Dongzhou, so she traveled across the endless sea to seek help. After Sun Jishu received the news, he returned to central continent accompanied by Grandma Chen Lan. With his absolute strength, he overcame all opinions and appointed Sun Jishu to the position of elder of Tai Palace. After the chaos, trivial matters in Tai Palace continued, and Sun Jishu never had any leisure time. Now 2 years have passed, and it was only recently that Tai Palace was back on track. At noon today, the weather was not very good. The whole sky was overcast and the sky and the earth were extremely dark. Suddenly, several dragon roars sounded, and the terrifying dragon power alarmed the entire Tai Palace mountain gate. The next moment, a golden light lit up from the east, and 9 dragons pulled a splendid pavilion and rushed towards the main hall of Tai Palace. Because they didn't know who the visitor was, the Tai Palace's mountain protecting formation instantly rose, and all the Tai Palace disciples also focused their attention. Including Sun Jishu, 5 elders of Tianshu realm and a palace master of late Tianshu realm came to the Kowloon Agarwood chariot in an instant. Seeing the Kowloon Agarwood chariot, Sun Jishu recognized it immediately, but before he could speak, Chen Lan had already walked out. He was still dressed in red, looking like a pretty man who was getting married today. With a charming smile on his handsome face, he walked down the Kowloon Agarwood chariot gracefully, and then bowed respectfully to Sun Jishu. Mother. Except for Sun Jishu, no one in Tai Palace heard what he said. Even the elders and palace masters of Tianshu realm were forcibly silenced by Chen Lan's beauty and succubus physique. So handsome. How can there be such a handsome person in this world? Yes, I was still thinking about who could be worthy of such an extraordinary chariot, but now it seems that the chariot is not worthy of him. After Chen Lan finished his salute, he put the Kowloon agarwood chariot into the jade pendant space, and then a powerful Tianshu realm aura spread out. Although he was only in the middle stage of Tianshu realm, the aura he exuded actually contained dragon power, and even the palace master in the late Tianshu realm seemed a lot ordinary. Emperor Chen Lan of Dongzhou came to pay homage to the mountain. Please forgive me for any rudeness. He did not claim to be Emperor Chenfeng, but Emperor of Dongzhou, just to tell everyone that Dongzhou had been unified. Of course, being so high profile on purpose this time was not just to show off. Although it is fun to pretend, the main purpose this time is to tell the outside world that Dongzhou has been unified and that the Emperor of Dongzhou is extraordinary in strength and magnanimity. Those who have other ideas would be wise to weigh them carefully. Although the people in Tai Palace were fascinated, they were also awakened the moment Chen Lan's momentum exploded. After all, the palace master of Tai Palace has strong cultivation and extraordinary intelligence, so he can react the fastest. In addition to being the Emperor of Dongzhou, Chen Lan is also the son of elder Sun Jishu. His Majesty the Emperor of Dongzhou is here, the Tai Palace is in full bloom. I would also like to invite His Majesty the Emperor to enter the main hall to have a talk. After figuring out the situation, the palace owner immediately withdrew the mountain protection formation and welcomed Chen Lan to enter. Soon, in the main hall of Tai Palace, Chen Lan was sitting on the guest seat with a calm look. Palace Master, just now I was watching the Tai Palace mountain guard formation and it seemed there was a blockage. It may be that the formation I spiritual weapon in the Yuanshu position in the southeast corner was damaged. If it is not completed as soon as possible, I am afraid it will affect the power of the formation. What? The Palace Master of Tai Palace was extremely surprised. This Chen Lan was so young. Not only did he have such a powerful cultivation level, was he also proficient in formations. But since Chen Lan said it, he had to go and see it no matter what. He turned back to look at an elder behind him. The elder left knowingly and returned to the hall after a while with a cracked spiritual sword. As soon as this spiritual sword appeared, everyone knew that what Chen Lan said was true, and it was also confirmed that Chen Lan's formation skills were unparalleled in the world. Everyone exchanged pleasantries for a while before letting the disciples arrange a place for Chen Lan to live. There is no way. Sun Jishu's leaving Tai Palace is not a trivial matter for Tai Palace. She must be given time to arrange the vacancy here. Sun Jishu is the elder of Tai Palace, and Chen Lan himself has an extraordinary status. In accordance with the elder's standards, Tai Palace arranged a secluded mountain peak for Chen Lan to rest on, and all the configurations were the best. However, handsome guys are attractive everywhere. Even though Chen Lan and his family moved in, they still couldn't stop the female disciples from Tai Palace from peeking at him from time to time. Not long after Chen Lan and others moved in, Sun Jishu followed them in. If the palace master hadn't been asking him about Chen Lan's personality and preferences, she would have come with Chen Lan long ago. Lanur. Hearing Sun Jishu's voice, Chen Lan immediately came out with the 5 girls and 2 apprentices. Mother. Sun Jishu stepped forward and looked carefully at the big boy whom he hadn't seen in 2 years. Good boy, grow up. I haven't seen you in just 2 years. Not only have you become a strong man in the Tianshu realm, but you have also unified Dongzhou. You are worthy of being my son, Sun Jishu. Sun Jishu didn't know whether he was praising himself or Chen Lan. Then his eyes fell on the people behind Chen Lan. Well, after finding so many wives, none of them surnamed Chen are really good. Without waiting for Chen Lan to retort, she looked at Xiaoyun and Ji Yu aside. The boy and girl were both delicate and cute. They smiled gently when facing the master's wife, making them look like a golden boy and girl. But Sun Jishu's eyes were not so good-looking. His face went from confusion to shock to disgust, which was extremely complicated. These changes in expressions were all seen by Chen Lan, and he did not expect that his mother would be so dirty. Mom, don't think too much. These are the 2 disciples I have accepted, Xiaoyun and Ji Yu. After hearing Chen Lan introduce herself, Xiaoyun and Ji Yu immediately stepped forward and saluted respectfully again. Meet master. There was only a trace of embarrassment in Sun Jishu's eyes, and then he looked at Chen Lan very uprightly. Where did you think you were going? I guess this is your apprentice. Then he immediately turned around and patted Xiaoyun and Ji Yu's shoulders. Be good, they are all good children. Chen Lan didn't want to waste time with his mother on this issue, so she took the initiative to change the topic. Mom, you should know that Grandpa came to pick up Grandma. There are few powerful emperors in Dongzhou now, so we must return as soon as possible. Sun Jishu nodded. She was also one of the leaders of Tai Palace, so she naturally knew that she should not stay here at this time. Okay, I'll make arrangements right away. You go around the Tai Palace by yourselves. After what you did just now, I guess all the Tai Palace disciples already know you. After saying that, Sun Jishu stopped staying and turned around to leave. Chen Lan nodded. This was the first time for the whole group to come to Central Continent, although they didn't have time to play around. But it would be nice to take a good stroll in Tai Palace, one of the 7 great immortal sects in Central Continent. As soon as Chen Lan left the hospital, the female disciples who were squatting around him immediately gathered around him. They seemed unable to see the murderous eyes of the 5 women behind Chen Lan, and rushed to get in front of Chen Lan. Senior brother Chenlan, I am a disciple of Elder Sun's lineage. This is my first time for senior brother. How about I take him around? Before Chen Lan could reply, a younger female disciple on the other side immediately rushed forward and pushed the female disciple in front of him behind him. Senior sister, you are several years older than senior brother Chen, so don't be an old cow eating young grass. Senior brother Chen, look at me, I'll take you shopping. I just turned 18. The senior sister who was squeezed behind was obviously not satisfied with being pulled behind her. She puffed up her bottomless chest and grabbed the back of the neck of the 18-year-old with her backhand. Why, just because of your 2 ounces of meat. You, what's so great about you? Huh, I'm just better than you. Chen Lan hesitated for a long time, and finally pointed to the senior sister with an unattainable chest who spoke first. Why don't we all come together? The 2 were stunned when they heard this, and then the senior sister reacted first. Senior brother Chen, I can do it. He just turned 18 and didn't hesitate. I can too. Under the deathly silent gazes of the 7 people behind them, the senior sister and junior sister instantly became good sisters, and together they accompanied Chen Lan to visit the Tai Palace. Chen Lan walked at the front, not forgetting to greet everyone behind him. Senior sister and junior sister are so kind and welcoming. Let's all come together and follow them quickly. Tai Palace is said to be small, but in fact it is not big at all. The group of people are all monks, so they took a flight and visited Tai Palace in just half a day. Although there are indeed many extraordinary places in Tai Palace, for people like Chen Lan who have seen big scenes. These so-called extraordinary things are not as good as the unattainable senior sister next to me, and the junior sister who has just turned 18. The 2 people who took Chen Lan also discovered that Chen Lan was not very interested in viewing the scenery, and they had already taken Chen Lan to see all the worth-seeing places in Tai Palace. It's just that they are not willing to let Chen Lan go so easily. Senior brother Chen, we have almost finished our tour of Tai Palace. Recently, my Tai Palace is having a sect competition, and today is the final. I wonder if senior brother is interested in giving me some advice. Since the scenery can't fool you, let's take a look at the sect competition finals of one of the 7 sects in Central Continent. For the sect, they still have a sense of sect's honor, and they also have confidence in the sect's evil genius. Chen Lan didn't have much interest in him, because when he came to Tai Palace, the system did not prompt that the Sun of Destiny existed here. A sect competition without Destiny's Sun would be interesting, but it was too boring, so he still agreed. Just when he turned around, he suddenly saw Xiaoyun behind him who was silent. After hearing about the sect competition, his eyes clearly lit up and he seemed very interested. Yes, I have the Sun of Destiny here ready-made. If not, I will add him. The more Chen Lan thought about it, the more excited she became, and she asked before she even arrived at the martial arts arena. Senior sister, can outsiders challenge the winner of the Tai Palace sect competition? The senior sister was stunned when she heard this, and was about to nod, then looked at Chen Lan in front of her in surprise. Senior brother Chen, as the son of elder son, is not considered an outsider, but your strength. Although there are no restrictions for elders in the sect competition, Chen Lan's terrifying strength has been demonstrated before. I'm afraid even the palace master of Tai Palace dare not say that he can accept his challenge, let alone ordinary disciples. Chen Lan immediately knew that he had misunderstood, and then grabbed Xiaoyun from behind. Sister, I misunderstood, it's not me who wants to challenge. I just want my disciple to see the world. He is only in the realm of Tianquan. The two women were obviously relieved when they heard this, and even ignored what Chen Lan said about the mere Tianquan realm. Central continent is different from East continent. There is no huge immortal dynasty here, but sects are the most respected. Tai Palace is one of the top 7 immortal sects in Central Continent, and the scene of the sect competition is indeed extraordinary. The two disciples in the finals are already at the early stage of Tianquan realm, second only to some of the leaders of Tai Palace. Moreover, both of them are geniuses who were killed out of a crowd, and their actual strength is higher than their cultivation. Chen Lan didn't pay attention to the two people in the scene, but looked at Xiaoyun with shining eyes with a smile. As a son of destiny, Chen Lan would put him into seclusion in the jade pendant space every now and then. The extremely dull life made him yearn for fighting. The two people in the field fought for half an hour, and finally one of them lost by one move, and the other, a young female disciple, won. When the battle ended, the female disciple was not overjoyed. Instead, she took the initiative to turn her gaze to Xiaoyun, who had been staring at her. I don't know why, but this female disciple always feels that there is a vague connection between herself and Xiaoyun. Chen Lan was also a little surprised. This female disciple actually took the initiative to look at Xiaoyun. Could it be that Xiaoyun, the son of destiny with thick eyebrows and big eyes, also had a harem? After thinking for a while, he looked at the person in charge of the sect competition. The chief understood what he was talking about and asked the female disciples in the audience. Yu Huan, elder son's disciple son Xiaoyun wants to challenge you, will you accept the challenge? Although he is said to be elder son's disciple, everyone present knows that Sun Jishu has not accepted any direct disciples in Tai Palace. This disciple must be Chen Lan's disciple. The female disciple named Yu Huan had a firm gaze, as if she had expected it. Disciple accepts the challenge. Although she had gone through a big battle, she still had more than half of her spiritual power left, and Xiaoyun was only at the peak of the Tianquan realm, so no one present felt it was unfair. Chen Lan didn't think so. Who was Xiaoyun? That is the son of destiny at the heavenly level. Even if you are a level higher than him, you may not be able to beat him at full health, let alone with residual health. In the shocked eyes of everyone, Chen Lan took out a pill from his arms and threw it gently. The next moment, the elixir actually passed through the isolation circle in the martial arts arena and floated directly across the space in front of Yu Huan. Is that a 5th grade spiritual restoration pill? Holy crap, is Dongzhou so rich? This elixir can completely save lives at a critical moment. Can it be used here? If it were me, I would definitely put away this elixir, and then meditate on the spot to restore my spiritual power. Yu Huan actually had similar thoughts, but seeing Xiaoyun's eager eyes and remembering that she was not very shameless, she still chose to swallow the spiritual restoration pill in one gulp. The 5th grade elixir lived up to its reputation. In just a few breaths, Yu Huan had completely recovered all his spiritual power, which was even more abundant than before the previous battle. Bring it on. She looked at Xiaoyun, fighting spirit surging in her eyes. Boom. Xiaoyun entered the scene without any unnecessary nonsense. Both of them chose to take action directly. Originally, Yu Huan did not dare to use all his strength, and Xiaoyun also wanted to test it. But as the two of them exchanged blows one after another, their strength also increased little by little. After a while, both of them had already exploded with power close to the middle stage of Tianquan realm. And this seemed to be their limit. The strength of the two no longer improved, but began to compete with each other in skills. It was hard to tell the difference between them. Except for Xie Qingqing, Ji Yuyuer and other people who came with Chen Lan, the senior sisters beside him were so shocked that they could not speak. Forget that Chen Lan is a pervert, his apprentice seems to be no worse than Chen Lan, and his talent can be said to be incomparable to that of a monster. How is my apprentice? Chen Lan finally felt a little interesting and couldn't help but ask the two people next to him. The under 18-year-old turned his head and looked at Chen Lan as if he were a monster. Sure enough, a tiger father has no dog sons, and a famous teacher produces a brilliant disciple. Emperor Qianfeng is the only immortal to ascend in the Xuanling realm in the past thousands of years. As his grandson, my senior brother is extremely talented. As a disciple of senior brother, Xiaoyun is also extremely talented. Chen Lan nodded with satisfaction after hearing this. His hobby of listening to other people's praises has not changed. Just listening, but suddenly I seemed to remember something. What did you say? Emperor Qianfeng ascended. Chen Lan was shocked. How did she know that Chen Feng Feixiang was coming? Wouldn't the entire Tai Palace know about Chen Feng Feixiang? He also asked Dongzhou not to leak the news. If Qianfeng ascended in Tai Palace in a high-profile manner, it would not be far from the entire central continent knowing about it, and it would not be far from the time when the other 3 continents would know about it. Chen Lan suddenly felt a sense of urgency in his heart, because the attack from the 4 continents might come much earlier than expected. And what he said next made him jump up in shock. I saw the man who had just turned 18 twist his soft body and answered Chen Lan in an extremely strange tone. Yes, that day Emperor Qianfeng knocked to the sky to find his way, and then the golden steps descended from the sky to guide the emperor to ascend. The golden light soaring into the sky stretched for millions of miles and did not disperse for 3 whole days. Monks from all over central continent came to my Tai Palace to watch. Although the tone of the people who had just turned 18 was strange, their tone was very proud. It seemed that Qianfeng's ascension from Tai Palace made them very proud. But Chen Lan just wanted to curse. You're cheating on your father, you're cheating on your grandson. Forget it if you leave, forget it if you don't take me with you. If you make such a big noise, I'm afraid the news has spread to the 4 continents. The forces coveting the land of Dongzhou may have begun to secretly collude, and the disaster of Dongzhou is imminent. Grandmas, Xiaoyun. Chen Lan looked at the 2 people who were still entangled in the field, and was no longer in the mood to continue watching. Hurry up, hurry up. Xiaoyun felt a little pity after hearing Chen Lan's words, but still obeyed. Ban, Xiaoyun shouted softly, then pointed out. Huge finger shadows appeared out of thin air and rushed towards Yu Huan quickly. The next moment, the shadow of his finger hit Yu Huan's eyebrows, and a mysterious spiritual power instantly enveloped Yu Huan, making her unable to move. The result was obvious, Xiaoyun won. Chen Lan did not pretend as usual, because if he continued to pretend, his life might be in danger. Because once the person who intends to get involved in East Continent knows that he has come to Central Continent, this is the best time to kill him. After hastily bidding farewell to the 2 senior sisters with their own characteristics, Chen Lan asked the others to return to the small courtyard to wait, while she quickly rushed to the main hall of Tai Palace. Because he was anxious, Chen Lan rushed to the main hall as quickly as possible, but as soon as he reached the door of the main hall, he saw Sun Jishu walking out. Okay, let's go. Alright, so fast. Chen Lan originally thought that Sun Jishu would have to arrange it for a long time, but she didn't expect that Sun Jishu came out first before she finished shopping. Sun Jishu looked like it was natural. Of course, your grandfather's shameless guy has made such a big noise, and Dongzhou has become a piece of fat in the Xuanling world. I started preparing a long time ago. I thought you would arrive a few days earlier, but I didn't expect you would arrive today. Chen Lan was stunned when he heard this, and then couldn't help but praise Sun Jishu's wit. Then when can we leave? Sun Jishu waved his hand in a heroic manner. Now, Sun Jishu's appearance confused Chen Lan. He is so handsome, he deserves to be my mother. A moment later, Sun Jishu and Chen Lan had arrived at the small courtyard. Everyone is ready and just waiting for Chen Lan to return before they can set off. Without talking unnecessary nonsense to anyone, Chen Lan and his party boarded the Kowloon Agarwood chariot and rushed to the Endless Sea as quickly as possible. It was also the Kowloon Agarwood chariot. When returning, Chen Lan deliberately restrained all the dazzling light for fear of being caught by outsiders. It's not that he doesn't want to pretend anymore, but he is really afraid. If others don't know about Chen Feng Feixiang, then it would be a sign that he has a good heart. And everyone knows that after Chen Lan ascends, if Chen Lan is so high profile, he will be no different from a living target. It's just that Chen Lan knew it too late. He entered Zhongzhou and rushed to Tai Palace in a high-profile manner. People secretly had already targeted him. From the moment Chen Lan left Tai Palace, there were people staring at them along the way. Chen Lan's spatial domain and the eye of deception are both capable of discerning subtleties, so as soon as he left the Tai Palace, he had already discovered the person in the dark. But Chen Lan didn't want to delay. His purpose was to quickly return to Dongzhou to prepare. When they were in Central Continent, these people could still keep up with him. Once they entered the Endless Sea, it would be difficult to use their spatial abilities. It was impossible for anyone to catch up with the semi-artifact Nine Dragons Agarwood chariot. But the people who were targeting them seemed to know this, so they had set up a dragnet before reaching the Endless Sea. Boom! A huge roar sounded, and the Nine Dragons Agarwood chariot was blocked by a sword light. Immediately afterwards, one after another attacks from the powerful Tianshu realm came, and the speed of the Kowloon Agarwood chariot slowed down instantly. Recently, Julong Agarwood chariot has endured too much. It was beaten by Xiaolu before, and now it is besieged by many Tianshu realm powerhouses. Chen Lan put away the Kowloon Agarwood chariot distressedly and put everyone except the two sisters Ji Wanner and Sun Jishu into the Jade Pendant space. The scene in front of them, no matter how talented they are, is too dangerous for people below the Tianshu realm, and they can't help much if they stay. Needless to say, Chen Lan himself, after recent days of training with Chen Lan, the sisters of the Ji family are already at the late stage of the Tianshu realm. As for Sun Jishu, she is at the peak of the Tianshu realm. As the daughter-in-law of Chen Feng and the wife of Chen Jing, she has so many tricks that even Chen Lan can't imagine. Chen Lan's space domain expanded, and every spatial fluctuation within 100 miles radius could not escape his eyes. No one answered Chen Lan, only figures appeared one after another, and countless sword lights and shadows roared towards the four people. Grandma is so stupid, do you think I'm easy to bully? Chen Lan didn't talk nonsense. Others had taken action, so what nonsense was there? It just so happened that he hadn't had a good fight with his own strength for a long time. Sisters Sun Jishu and Ji Wanner reacted very quickly. As top Tianshu realm experts, they were extremely rich in both strength and combat experience. Zan Bing Long Shang. As Chen Lan's voice sounded, the temperature of the entire space seemed to drop, and hundreds of black ice dragons rushed in all directions carrying the breathtaking power of the dragon. Whether they were those who launched the attack openly or those who were still hiding in the dark and preparing to launch cold arrows, there were several giant dragons rushing towards them, forcing them to reveal themselves. With one blow, all the enemies here have appeared. There are a total of 38 Tianshu realm experts, including 10 in the middle stage and 10 in the late stage. The remaining 18 are all at the peak of Tianshu realm. Strong. Holy crap, Tianshu realm experts don't need money, and they all come out to be killers. The other party still ignored Chen Lan's complaints. Sun Jishu may have taken the initiative to speak because he was afraid that his son would be too embarrassed. The foundation of Zhongzhou is deeper than that of Dongzhou. For example, in Tai Palace, there are only 6 people in Tianshu realm, the elder and the palace master. But secretly, the ancestors of the great emperor realm and some former elder palace masters are also still alive. The old man made such a big fuss, and you entered Central Continent with a high profile. This is already rare for Tianshu realm. I guess there are still people on the way here, let's fight quickly, don't be reluctant to fight. Chen Lan nodded when he heard this. Sure enough, only her mother is good in the world, and her care is indispensable. But before he could be moved for long, Sun Jishu's voice came again. The 2 daughters-in-law are blocking those 10 menacing middle-stage Tianshu realms. I will help you stop those 10 vicious late-stage Tianshu realms. My good son, go and kill those 18 people who are only at the top of the Tianshu realm. Quote. 3 huge question marks appeared on Chen Lan's face. Before he could speak, the 2 sisters Ji Wanner had already nodded in agreement and rushed towards the people in the middle stage of Tianshu realm. Seeing this, Sun Jishu was not to be outdone. His strength at the peak of the Tianshu realm suddenly exploded, and he rushed into the 10 late-stage Tianshu realm powerhouses like a goddess from the 9 heavens. Why are all my family members so cheating? Chen Lan roared helplessly, but the movements of his hands were not slow at all. Xuanbing Longxiang, Yanwei Zhongtian. While Sun Jishu was laying out the battle plan, Chen Lan's first batch of black ice dragons had been wiped out by the opponent, and Chen Lan then thoughtfully sent out the second wave. Even because they were afraid that they would be frozen by so much ice, they thoughtfully prepared cute little stoves for them. Boom! The towering fire pillar flourished at the feet of a peak Tianshu realm expert who was bitten by the black ice dragon. Under the steaming flames carrying the law of fire, it quickly turned into ashes. That's it. Chen Lan's spiritual power seems to be inexhaustible. He can fight against 18 peak Tianshu realm experts by himself. At the same time, he still has the remaining power to control Xuanbing Longxiang to help Ji Wan'er sisters and son Jishu. I knew you could do it. In just 2 years, from Yuheng to Tianshu, your grandfather couldn't do it. Son Jishu looked at Chen Lan proudly. He was his own son, how could he push him into the fire pit? The reason for this arrangement was because she completely believed in Chen Lan's strength. Destruction in all directions. Chen Lan knew that what son Jishu said before made sense, and there might be someone on the way to kill him, so a quick victory was the key. During the battle, Chen Lan's 8 directions of annihilation formation quickly took shape. Chen Lan didn't use a sharp knife before just to be surprised at this moment. Originally, these Tianshu realm experts were already entangled by the black ice dragon and the pillar of fire that could rise into the sky at any time and anywhere. Under the shroud of the 8 directions nirvana formation, the 8 sharp knives are comparable to artifacts. In an instant, those strong men only felt the cold light flashing around their bodies, and 8 strong men in the Tianshu realm died on the spot. Careful, after fighting for so long, half of the people were dead. Finally, someone on the other side spoke, reminding his companions to be careful of the strangely sharp knife. Ding! It has been detected that the Son of Destiny is approaching quickly, the level is epic. Chen Lan, who was concentrating on tossing the remaining Tianshu realm experts, frowned when he heard this epic level, and quickly approached. Could it be that reinforcements from this group of people have arrived? Although he was confused, Chen Lan was still very alert, waiting for the unexpected that might happen at any time. Boom! A huge phantom of copper coins suddenly appeared above Chen Lan's head, and an extremely terrifying sense of oppression instantly appeared, making Chen Lan unable to lift his head. Emperor, it's not right. The strength of the visitor has far exceeded the scope of the Tianshu realm, and is infinitely close to the Great Emperor realm, but there always seems to be something missing. Both in terms of momentum and strength, he was much weaker than the Great Emperor, and could only be regarded as a pseudo-emperor. But this weakness is only for the real Emperor realm. For the strong people in Tianshu realm, including Chen Lan, they are also extremely powerful existences. The person who came was wearing a strange mask, and his eyes were filled with anger and uneasiness. Combined with the previous system prompts, Chen Lan almost exclaimed, "Jun Chu." When Chu Jun heard this, his eyes filled with resentment could not help but froze. He wore a mask just to prevent Chen Lan from recognizing him. Unexpectedly, Chen Lan recognized him at a glance. "Good boy, I knew I couldn't keep you. This guy Chu Jun really runs away every time he loses a fight, and every time he appears again, he will cause even greater trouble. Huang Shu has already surrendered. You have always been dominated by Huang Shu. Why don't you abandon the dark side and join the light now? I will ensure that you are popular and drink hot food." Chu Jun smiled disdainfully upon hearing this, his tone full of ridicule. "My master has only the word destiny from the beginning to the end. Since Huang Shu has allowed himself to fall, he is not worthy of being a member of my generation. I am the real destiny." At the end of his words, Chu Jun's tone was full of enthusiasm and pride. He had gone completely crazy and became a walking zombie. Kill. With one word, murderous intent suddenly arose, and the spiritual power of Chu Jun's body suddenly burst out, which contained anger and hatred for Chen Lan. Gather. Although Chu Jun didn't seem to have a clear mind, his strength was indeed extraordinary. With just the first move, Chen Lan was forced to withdraw all the sharp knives and surrounded Chu Jun alone. In the air, the clear sounds of sharp weapons clashing sounded, and Chu Jun was fighting fiercely with the 8 flying knives. Boom! At the last moment, 8 flying knives were knocked down by Chu Jun, but they also cut one of Chu Jun's arms. Jihieji. Seeing that Chu Jun was injured, Chen Lan couldn't help but laugh. It wasn't that he couldn't hold his breath, but he really couldn't help it, because the 8-handled sharp knife was no longer a simple artifact. Just in case, before Chen Lan was intercepted, he had already smeared the sharp knife with a 7th-grade poison pill. 7th-grade poisonous pills are very rare, especially highly poisonous pills. If you accidentally eat this kind of poisonous pill, even a strong person in the realm of the Great Emperor will suffer from sluggish qi and blood and stagnant spiritual power. Chen Lan, you are cheating. Chu Jun's eyes were filled with horror. He was still in the realm of a pseudo-emperor, but this poison had an unexpectedly good effect on him, forcibly suppressing Chu Jun's strength by 30%. Nice to see you again, Mr. Chu. Chen Lan ignored Chu Jun's exclamation. At this moment, he just wanted to quickly get rid of this piece of shit that had escaped from his hands countless times. Die. Chu Jun knew that he could not let Chen Lan drag him down, so he exploded all his spiritual power almost instantly, trying to quickly determine the outcome. Chen Lan is not in a hurry. As long as Chu Jun cannot leave, his poisoning will only get deeper and deeper. Chu Jun attacked several times to no avail. Although he was very unwilling, he still chose to give up as before. But just when he was about to retreat, he was surprised to find that the space around him could not be opened at all. He had encountered similar situations before, but those were when he was relatively close to Chen Lan. This time, in order to escape, he retreated a long distance, but he still couldn't break through the space. No solution anymore. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't escape, Mr. Chu wouldn't be willing to pay a huge price to make a deal with Tiandao. But the strange thing is that this time, when he finally decided to trade with Tiandao again, he found that he was like being locked in a small dark room, calling the sky and the earth to be unresponsive. How can this be? Chen Lan, what did you do? Chu Jun had never been so surprised. He had only heard of methods to conceal the secrets of heaven, but he had never heard of Chen Lan's method of directly blocking the connection between people and heaven. It's you. Chen Lan walked over with a smile. I've made you run so many times. This time, I'll see where you go. Chu Jun was furious when he heard this. I was just poisoned and didn't want to tangle with you. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? Thinking of this, Chu Jun ignored the fact that he was still poisoned and directly unleashed all his strength and rushed towards Chen Lan. Chen Lan had already expected this, so she flew to avoid Chu Jun's attack and kept dodging. Driven by spiritual power and long-term activities, the poison in Chu Jun's body has taken root, sprouted, and thrived. However, Chu Jun was still unable to catch Chen Lan and almost fell into madness. Die. With a look from Chen Lan, hundreds of giant black ice dragons instantly took over the scene. The two sisters Ji Waner and Sun Jishu quickly came to Chen Lan's side. Including Chen Lan, the four of them gathered their strength and rushed directly towards Chu Jun, who was still confused. Puff! When Chu Jun resisted with all his strength, 8 sharp knives crossed the space, appeared behind Chu Jun out of thin air, and quickly passed through Chu Jun's body. Immediately afterwards, a column of blood spurted out. Chu Jun failed to block all the flying knives. One of them passed through Chu Jun's chest and almost shattered all his internal organs, leaving him without any life. Room to go down. Ding! Congratulations to the host on your success. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully interrupting the life of the epic-level Son of Destiny, and being rewarded with the 7 Swords of the Stars. 7 Ancient Star Swords. Semi-artifact, refined from a small fallen world, with a total of 7 swords. However, there is no connection between them. They are just ordinary 7-handled semi-artifacts. After absorbing enough star power, they can be upgraded into artifacts. The system puts it lightly. Although Chu Jun caused a lot of trouble to Chen Lan, he is indeed just an epic-level Destiny child, so the reward will not be too good. But the Star Ancient 7 Swords are obviously not as simple as the system says. After all, in the Xuanling world, semi-artifacts are already among the top weapons. What's more, whose mediocre semi-artifact still has a chance to advance? Isn't this a quasi-artifact? The system will give you pillows when you are really sleepy, steamed buns when you are hungry, and 7 quasi-magical weapons at once. It just so happens that Chen Lan wants to update the equipment for the people around him. After receiving the reward, Chen Lan immediately took out the 7 semi-artifacts from the space crack, and at the same time pulled Xie Qingqing and others out of the jade pendant space. This is. The one who spoke was Sun Jishu. With her eyes, she could see the extraordinary quality of these 7 divine swords at a glance. What surprised her was where Chen Lan got so many semi-divine weapons. After all, she had just seen his 8 sharp knives that were comparable to divine weapons. Starting from Sun Jishu, Chen Lan sent out one sword at a time. Mom, this is called the 7 swords of the ancient stars. If it absorbs enough power from the stars, it can be advanced into a divine weapon. Come on, Ching Ching, this is yours. Hong Hong, Zhao King, Wanner, Chower. The number of swords is just right. After giving away to my wife and my own woman, there is just one left. Finally, Chen Lan walked to Xiao Yun's side. Xiao Yun looked at Chen Lan with excitement. When Chen Lan gave him the mountain axe, he still remembered it vividly. He didn't expect that he would have a second semi-sacred weapon so soon. But Chen Lan didn't look at him. She pulled him aside and handed the last divine sword to Ji Yu Yuer. Mine. Ji Yu Yuer was very surprised. She also thought that the last sword would be Xiao Yun's. This is not because she thinks Chen Lan favors Xiao Yun, but because this semi-artifact was given to her. With her current cultivation level, she cannot exert her full strength. Chen Lan thrust the hilt of the sword into Ji Yu Yuer's hand. Of course, doesn't this kid already have a mountain axe? As my disciple, Chen Lan, you must have this card. Xiao Yun was not dissatisfied with Chen Lan giving the divine sword to Ji Yu Yuer, but was very happy. But thinking of his slightly rough mountain axe, I couldn't help but mutter. Actually, I want a sword more. Although his voice was so low that it was almost inaudible, Ji Yu Yuer certainly understood him, so she took the initiative to speak to Chen Lan. Master, my cultivation level is still low. Even if you give me this divine sword, I won't be able to use 50% of my strength. Why don't you give it to Brother Yun? Xiao Yun immediately shook his head. How could he want the semi-artifact that Chen Lan gave to Ji Yu Yuer? But before he could refuse, Chen Lan had already given him a dunk. It's because you are an unreliable senior brother. You just focus on your own cultivation and don't teach your junior sister. Chen Lan's attack was not gentle. Xiao Yun was caught off guard and was hit with a meat bag on the top of his head. Although I felt very aggrieved and wanted to refute, shouldn't it be the master's job to teach disciples? But when faced with Chen Lan's shameless look that even wanted to hit him twice more, Xiao Yun still chose to endure it silently. When Chen Lan saw Xiao Yun was silent, she was obviously enlightened by her careful education, and she was very happy for him in her heart. Just when Chen Lan was about to take this opportunity to teach his apprentices more, he suddenly felt an extremely powerful aura in the distance approaching quickly. Holy shit, Emperor! The next moment, after Chen Lan confirmed that the person coming was a great emperor, he immediately became excited. Quick, without any unnecessary explanation, everyone already knew what happened when they heard Chen Lan's words, holy shit. Great Emperor. Chen Lan opened the space of the jade pendant and instantly took everyone into it, then quickly shuttled towards the endless sea. The Emperor's space shuttle distance and flight speed are much stronger than those of Tianshu realm experts. However, Chen Lan has understood the complete laws of space, and the use of space cannot be compensated by strength. In the Xuanling world, Chen Lan has not even met another person who can master the complete law. This kind of mastery of one law has obvious advantages. Almost at the same time that Chen Lan disappeared, a powerful emperor-level man appeared in front of everyone. Before he came here, his aura had already arrived. Although he was only a strong man in the early stage of the Great Emperor, the Emperor's realm was already extraordinary. That aura was enough to suppress the powerful men below the Emperor level and escape across the void, but I didn't expect that with so many people in Chen Lan's group, not one of them stayed. Interesting. The Great Emperor seemed to have discovered something interesting. He quickly found the direction in which Chen Lan was escaping, and followed the fluctuations in spiritual power and chased after him again. After crossing the void twice in a row, Chen Lan had reached the edge of the endless sea. The next moment, Chen Lan plunged into the endless sea. As long as you enter the endless sea, even if the opponent is a powerful emperor, you have to fly honestly and cannot break the space and teleport across the void for long distances. The Great Emperor followed Chen Lan into the endless sea. What did he have to be afraid of? He was not the only one who could not cross the void. It's also flying. How could he, a powerful emperor, still lose to Chen Lan? Chen Lan's flying speed in the endless sea was indeed not very fast. Almost as soon as he entered the endless sea, the pursuers from the great emperor realm were almost catching up. But everything was not as simple as he thought. Just when his terrifying power was about to touch Chen Lan miraculously disappeared from the place and appeared dozens of miles away. Are you kidding? Do you think my space laws are a joke? Chen Lan smiled disdainfully. Although the space here was chaotic and he was unable to teleport over long distances, he was not completely unable to teleport. Crossing the void for dozens of miles at a time is no problem at all. And even if Chen Lan can only cross dozens of miles at a time, he can still fly faster than the powerful emperor. Don't look at it as just a thin line. As long as there is this thin line, the powerful emperor will never be able to catch up with Chen Lan. Come here, come and hit me, you idiot. With Chen Lan's almost endless and versatile spiritual power, each teleportation almost didn't take long. Crossing the void one after another was as simple to him as drinking water and breathing. The strong men in the realm of the great emperor were extremely surprised, but they could only guess that Chen Lan must have some kind of semi-artifact or artifact of the space system in his hand to be able to cross the void on the endless sea. Fortunately, the distance he crossed was not far, but even so, he tried several times and failed to catch up with Chen Lan. Come and hit me, idiot. Chen Lan saw that a powerful person in the realm of the great emperor really couldn't catch up, so he became more and more arrogant. He spoke one provocation after another and couldn't stop at all. The realm of the great emperor is already the top cultivation level in the Xuanling realm, so no matter which continent he is from, he is a top figure. When had they ever been so angry? After several attempts to speed up to no avail, the powerful emperor became completely anxious. You little fool, die. The great emperor became angry and furious. Not only did he track Chen Lan at the fastest speed, he also began to launch attacks frantically in different directions ahead. Old guy, you don't have martial ethics. Because the emperor and the powerful emperor were not sure where Chen Lan would appear next when he crossed the void, he could only attack randomly. But if there are too many blind cats, one of them will end up with a dead mouse. That extremely fierce attack almost flew past Chen Lan's ear, causing Chen Lan, who was still provoking the emperor, to curse. This chase lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Chen Lan's shuttle speed was much faster than when he came, but he was still half the distance from Dongzhou. For 3 consecutive days, the powerful emperor's attacks have not stopped. Although he does not have the spiritual energy storage 1,000 times the same level as Chen Lan, such attacks and flying speed are indeed not worth mentioning to him. So many blind cats finally encountered a dead mouse today. The attacks released randomly from the great emperor realm finally hit Chen Lan's back. An extremely powerful force blasted Chen Lan far away and interrupted the void action he was about to open. In the great emperor realm, Chen Lan had been scolded to death by Chen Lan for the past 3 days. He chased and failed to catch up, and hit and missed. The anger he had been holding back for so long finally had a place to let go. Run. Why don't you run away? You little fool, I have to peel off your skin and cramps, break your bones and spread your ashes today. Facing the powerful emperor who came to him in an instant, Chen Lan quickly turned around and stared into the opponent's eyes. Who are you? Since you want to kill me, you must let me die clearly, right? Chen Lan had already begun to panic, and she once again scolded Chen Feng for being such an unreliable guy. There is only one trick for this. If he is the protagonist of this plane, as long as he delays for a while, a peerless beauty will definitely come to save him. The powerful emperor was stunned for a moment when he heard Chen Lan's words. But after a moment, his eyes bloomed with cold light. Go down and ask the king of hell. After the words fell, the spiritual power in the hands of the powerful emperor quickly gathered, and the terrifying power of flames gathered in his hands. It seemed that he did not want to waste any more time. Holy shit, that's not logical. Chen Lan was filled with fear, following the protagonist's logic. Shouldn't the person in front of him give him a detailed explanation first, and then be suddenly interrupted after a bunch of nonsense? Isn't that how the script was written? Although he was frightened, Chen Lan's movements were not slow. In addition to the law of space, he also had the law of fire and the law of ice. The powerful emperor in front of him is obviously good at using the power of flames, so using the laws of ice and fire to resist can still give him some advantages. Grandma, I'll fight you. The terrifying power of flames instantly enveloped Chen Lan, and Chen Lan was not idle either. A huge amount of spiritual power surged in his body, and the law of fire continuously weakened the power of the flames. The cold air condensed by the law of ice protected him, and for a while he actually blocked the attack of the powerful emperor. System, think of a solution quickly, I'm going to do it. Although he was able to withstand it for a short time, he was still a strong emperor in the realm of the great emperor. Chen Lan knew that if he continued to use it like this, he would be the unlucky one. In desperation, he had no choice but to ask for help from the system. When Chen Feng ascended, he couldn't think of anyone else who could help him. Unfortunately, the system ignored him, and Chen Lan would soon be unable to hold on any longer. Just when Chen Lan's defense was about to be broken, the rune stones in Chen Lan's arms began to shine, as if they might leap out at any time to help Chen Lan solve the trouble at hand. That was the rune stone Chen Feng had given him before, saying it could withstand the emperor's attack at critical moments. Before Chen Feng ascended and left, after his strength was unrestricted, he upgraded the stone talisman again. Only Chen Feng himself knew how powerful the attack it could block now. But before the rune stones had time to take effect, a wave roared towards the powerful emperor. The terrifying wave extinguished all the flames surrounding Chen Lan, who, seeing that the assassination of Chen Lan was about to succeed, but was interrupted at this critical moment, the powerful emperor felt very unhappy. The person who answered him was also a figure in the early stage of the great emperor realm, and her aura was buoyant, as if she had just broken through not long ago. Go to hell. The speaker was a tall woman who was 7 feet tall and wearing a green robe. Her characteristics were also very obvious, that is, she was broad-minded, very, very broad. The woman's attack was very fierce. Although her aura was weak, her power was much stronger than that of the powerful emperor who was chasing Chen Lan. There was a hint of dragon power leaking out. After dozens of consecutive moves, the powerful emperor began to lose power. Originally, he had spent some time tracking Chen Lan, but now he encountered a monster woman. He was really unlucky. Mountains and rivers meet each other, and I will remember today's grudge. According to the normal procedure, the powerful emperor said a harsh word before running away, and then ran back as fast as possible. Seeing the man running away, the tall woman did not chase him, but walked to Chen Lan and looked at Chen Lan carefully. Thank you, senior, for saving your life. May I ask your senior's name? The woman looked at Chen Lan and grinned. Friend, you don't recognize me. Chen Lan was stunned when he heard this, and then looked at her familiar green color, extremely shocked. Who are you? Xiao Lu, have you broken through to the realm of the great emperor? Unexpectedly, the monster beast broke through to the realm of the great emperor and not only gained spiritual intelligence, but could also cultivate into a human form. It was really amazing. Xiao Lu nodded very happily. That's right, thanks to the dragon power you left me, I realized the dragon power so quickly and successfully transformed into a dragon. Chen Lan also nodded happily. Congratulations on your successful transformation into a dragon. From now on you will be a veritable female dragon. Big dragoness. Xiao Lu's eyes were a little curious, but they quickly returned to normal. I don't like this title. Seeing the disgust on Xiao Lu's face, Chen Lan immediately changed her tune. Okay, little green. Xiao Lu still shook his head after hearing this. No, I don't want to call you Xiao Lu either. It's too unpleasant. Chen Lan was a little surprised. What's wrong? Could it be that after breaking through to the realm of the great emperor, his aesthetics also improved? Okay, what's your name now? Although the big female dragon in front of her doesn't look very smart, she is truly a powerful person in the realm of the great emperor. And as a monster that has transformed into a dragon, her strength is far superior to that of a strong person in the same realm, so of course Chen Lan has to follow her. But she seemed to have no idea what to call her, and her eyes that shone with wisdom blinked again and again. I haven't decided yet, what do you think of Shelby? When Chen Lan heard this, he almost fainted on the spot. How could he know that she would actually give herself this name one day? Fortunately, after thinking for a while, she finally shook her head unsatisfied. This doesn't seem very good. Aren't you humans good at naming? How about you get one for me? Seeing the big female dragon looking at herself expectantly, Chen Lan also started to think seriously. Humans may be really good at naming, but that doesn't include him. In his previous life, he had chosen nicknames randomly when playing games, so he might not be able to come up with names better than Little Green and Little Bai. After thinking for a while and really having no good idea, Chen Lan began to look at her carefully. You have successfully transformed into a dragon, so why not just give it a surname of Long? Call Ao Tian. No, this name doesn't suit you. At this moment, Chen Lan's eyes swept from top to bottom several times, and finally stopped at the most eye-catching part. How is Xuanren, Long Xuanren? Long Xuanren was very happy when she heard this name. This name was indeed much better than her own name, Little Green, Little Bai or something like that. Okay, Long Xuanren, I like this name. Friend, how did you come up with this idea? Chen Lan waved her hands with a proud smile on her face. Because of the uproar. No, because this name matches your temperament very well. Just like it. Long Xuanren didn't seem to notice Chen Lan's previous slip of the tongue, and readily accepted that her temperament matched the name. Seeing that Long Xuanren was very satisfied with his name, Chen Lan was also very happy, but although the pursuers just now have been repelled, the forces intending to invade Dongzhou will not delay for too long. Xuanren, I'm going home. My home may be in danger soon, so I have to rush back as soon as possible. Long Xuanren was a little surprised when he heard this. He had finally broken through the realm of the great emperor and transformed into a human form. He still wanted to have a good chat with his friend. Unexpectedly, Chen Lan left in a hurry as soon as they met. Is it that guy just now? Don't be afraid, I can protect you. For Long Xuanren, the most powerful enemy is only a strong person in the realm of the great emperor. Now that she is already at the top of the Xuanling realm, can't she still protect one person? Chen Lan also likes this simple monster who has just opened up his intelligence, and if she helps, Dongzhou will indeed be a big help. It's just that Long Xuanren saved his life just now, and now she is letting Chen Lan trick her into helping her to resist so many powerful enemies. Even with Chen Lan's face, she feels a little embarrassed. It's not just the guy just now. There are many enemies in my family. He is definitely not the only one who is a strong emperor. There are even strong men in the late or even peak stages of the emperor realm. You'd better stay in the endless sea. I'll come back to you after I deal with them in the future. Chen Lan's rare sincerity was truly experienced by Long Xuanren. She felt that Chen Lan was really a good human being. Since he was her friend and had helped her break through before, Long Xuanren could never ignore his affairs. Chen Lan, we are friends, I will help you. I just want to leave the endless sea, and I also want to see what the land is like. Chen Lan was stunned when he heard this. He didn't expect Long Xuanren to say that, but since she was willing to help, he had no reason to refuse. Okay, thank you, Xuanren. Ever since the powerful emperor who was chasing Chen Lan was repulsed, the rest of the journey has been very smooth, and no one following Chen Lan has appeared again. To deal with Chen Lan, who is not protected by a strong emperor, being able to dispatch a strong person in the early stage of the emperor can be said to be very important and foolproof. Unexpectedly, Chen Lan could actually teleport across the endless sea, and his spiritual power seemed to be endless. I don't know how many times I have crossed space these days, but I am still full of energy and don't look tired at all. Arrive. Flying at full speed under the dragon monster of the great emperor Long Xuanren, Chen Lan arrived in front of Dongzhou Kyoto City in just 5 days. This is a human city. How interesting. When she was on the road with Chen Lan, Long Xuanren always carried Chen Lan forward in the shape of a dragon. When she arrived at Kyoto City, her true dragon power made many people's legs tremble. Fortunately, in the next moment, Chen Lan jumped down, passed through the void, and appeared in the imperial palace of Kyoto. Long Xuanren also transformed into a human form and returned with him. After arriving at the imperial palace, the space in front of Chen Lan fluctuated, and Sun Jishu, Xie Qingqing and others appeared in the hall one after another. Came back. In the jade pendant space, everyone was worried about Chen Lan's safety. After all, before Chen Lan accepted them into the jade pendant space, he said that the one he was chasing was the powerful emperor. It is not an easy task to escape from the pursuit of the powerful emperor. Seeing the worried looks in everyone's eyes, Chen Lan immediately pulled Long Xuanren in front of him. Mom, this is Long Xuanren. We met her before when we went to Central Continent and made a friend. Thanks to her this time, we were able to get rid of the powerful emperor so easily and return to Dongzhou. When Sun Jishu heard this, she looked Long Xuanren up and down. Although the name was quite nice, she always felt that there was something strange about it. Especially after she saw Long Xuanren's two behemoths. Thank you very much, Miss Long. Although it is strange, they still have basic courtesy. Long Xuanren was also very curious about these human behaviors and seemed very happy. Mom, since you are back, you should go see Dad. Dongzhou is probably going to be in chaos again soon. Chen Lan took the initiative to urge Sun Jishu to meet Chen Jing. Chen Feng had made such a big noise in Central Continent, and the invasion of the 4 continents would be much earlier than he expected. He must prepare early. After Sun Jishu left, Chen Lan arranged for Xie Qingqing to take the girls to stroll around the streets of Kyoto, and also took Long Xuanren to get familiar with human life. Xiaoyun was given a death order and must help Ji Yuyuer improve her cultivation as soon as possible, at least to the level where she can fully utilize the semi-artifact. If Xiaoyun is not confident, Chen Lan also has a magical skill called Yin Yang Xiaoyao Tu that can be passed on to him to help Ji Yuyuer practice to ensure the best results. Amidst Chen Lan's evil laughter of Jia Jia Jia, Xiaoyun decisively rejected the opportunity to learn this magical technique and promised that he could use his own methods to help Ji Yuyuer improve her cultivation. Chen Lan was noncommittal. He knew Xiaoyun had this ability, but he didn't learn this win-win technique. It was a waste of resources. You know, Xie Qingqing, Meng Hong, and Yi Qing all improved by leaps and bounds after his tireless and in-depth communication. Sisters Ji Wan'er and Ji Chaoer even broke through to the late Tianshu realm. Can this be an ordinary skill? Xiaoyun and Ji Yuyuer were sent away with resentful eyes, and Chen Lan was the only one left in the main hall of the imperial palace. Hongzhuo. After sorting out his thoughts for a while, Chen Lan returned to his seriousness and called Hongzhou. As Chen Lan's secretary, Hongzhou was always in the imperial palace on call. When he heard Chen Lan's voice, he walked in immediately. Chen Lan's eyes fell on Hongzhuo. After such a long time, everyone around him had made rapid progress, but Hongzhuo was the only one who still stayed in the Tianquan realm. This was really unfair. Emperor. After seeing Chen Lan calling her in, she didn't say anything. She just looked at her blankly, which made Hongzhuo's face turn red and her body temperature rise. After being called out by Hongzhuo, Chen Lan came back to his senses. Hongzhuo, how are things going with Wang Jiwang and his wife and my uncle? One of them is attacking the remaining territory of the Ice Moon Immortal Dynasty, and the other is rectifying the city of the original Emperor Ji Immortal Dynasty. Once their affairs are finished, Dongzhou will be completely unified. When Chen Lan was away, Hongzhuo handled all the news, so she was very aware of these issues. Emperor, under the command of Princess Wangji, the Wangji Immortal Dynasty has now disappeared. Although there is no big obstacle to the Bingyu Immortal Dynasty, they have to receive it city by city after all, so it is relatively slow. But it can be completely won in just 2 days. Chen Lan nodded when he heard this. This was not far from what he expected. Asking Huang Shu to capture the Wangji Immortal Dynasty would be as simple as taking the contents of this pocket to another pocket. However, it can also be seen from this that Huang Shu is indeed in the same boat as Chen Lan. Send an order to have all the combatable soldiers in Dongzhou rush to the coast of the West Sea to prepare for war. Set up communication circles along the coast of the Endless Sea. If you find anyone coming from other 4 continents, notify me immediately. All the powerful people above the Tianshu realm will return to Kyoto in 2 days and wait for orders. Anyone who offends our Dongzhou will be killed. After doing all this, Chen Lan calmed down a little. No matter when or how, intruders must be treated with shotguns, otherwise they will one day become a big trouble. This is blood education, and everyone should keep it in mind. After a while, Hongzhuo appeared again. Emperor, all the news has been spread, and the troops from all over the country have already set off. The soldiers near the West Sea are already arranging to set up communication arrays. 1 every 100 miles will definitely not cause any trouble. Chen Lan nodded when he heard this, so that he should be able to get the news as soon as possible. When the time comes, he can use the great movement array to bring all the strong men to the first battlefield so that he can better resist the invasion. After Hongjuo finished speaking, she looked at Chen Lan solemnly. She knew that Chen Lan must be very worried and anxious now. Just when Hongjuo was worried about whether Chen Lan's psychological pressure would be too great, he looked up and saw Chen Lan's strangely smiling face. The reason why I say it's weird is because his expression at this time is wretched and reveals excitement, and there's a hint of perversion in the excitement, but he's trying his best to appear normal, so it's extremely weird. Emperor. Although Chen Lan still looks handsome with this expression, Hongzhou is still puzzled. Hearing this, Chen Lan looked at Hongzhou seriously. Hongzhuo, how have you been practicing lately? Have you made any breakthroughs? Hongzhuo was stunned. She didn't expect that Chen Lan would care about her cultivation at this time. Could it be that the war is approaching and Chen Lan dislikes that his cultivation level is too low? The emperor won't let me go because of this, right? The emperor is extremely talented and his cultivation level is improving very quickly. Hongzhou is stupid and has not made much progress in his cultivation for so long. But Hongzhuo has been with the emperor for so long and knows him best. Please don't drive me away, emperor. From now on, I will work harder to practice. Hongzhuo's words also made Chen Lan stunned. He didn't expect that Hongzhuo would think wrong. But this also shows once again that my charm is indeed endless. You are thinking too much, Hongzhuo. I just want to ask you if you want to improve your cultivation. You don't want to practice until you are 7 or 80 years old before you can break through the Tianquan realm, right? As Chen Lan's personal maid, and before Chen Lan left Dongzhou, she had always driven the Kowloon Agarwood chariot herself. Of course she knew Chen Lan's methods. After all, after everyone followed Chen Lan, their cultivation speed increased by leaps and bounds. Thinking of this, Hongzhuo's face really turned red, her whole body felt hot, and she was a little excited just thinking about it. I think. Chen Lan was very happy when she heard Hongzhuo's words, but she still asked. What do you want? Speak out. Hongzhuo's face turned redder when he heard this. I want the emperor. Help me practice. Listening to Hongzhuo's words, Chen Lan's expression slowly changed from the weird before to completely abnormal. I saw him staring at Hongzhuo with blazing eyes. Good. Come here, let me show you a big baby. Hongzhuo lowered his head and walked step by step to Chen Lan, feeling a little cooler with every step he took. Chen Lan also took out his big treasure as promised. The greater the difference in cultivation level between two people who practice, yin-yang xiaoyao tu, the greater the help to the person with lower cultivation level. Hongzhuo's cultivation has fallen a lot these days, but he can make up for it very quickly. Until that night, Hongzhuo, who was practicing for the first time, was finally too tired to move. Fortunately, Xie Qingqing and the others happened to rush back at this time and refilled him. The reason why Chen Lan has been able to keep improving by leaps and bounds is all due to this drive to practice hard. He is already such a genius and is still working hard, so why should others not work hard with him? Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing 100% of the unification of Dongzhou. The reward is the God-level formation, the Tiangong Emperor Destroying Formation. Tiangong Emperor Destroying Formation. Corresponding to the 36 stars of Tiangong, use the power of the stars in the sky to kill the immortals and destroy the Emperor. Early the next morning, the system suddenly rang. It seems that the affairs of Bingyu Immortal Dynasty have been completed, and they should be back soon. The system really has no principles. It has clearly rewarded Dongzhou's unification before. Now I have to find a reason to give myself something. According to logic, this must be a necessity that I can use immediately. Chen Lan was getting dressed while thinking about it. By the time he got dressed, Hongzhou, who was the first to finish his work, had already been working for half a day. Emperor, Princess Wangji has arrived in Kyoto, and the rest of the Tianshu realm experts are also on their way back. The latest one will probably arrive tonight. Chen Lan nodded when he heard this. Hongzhou, as a secretary, really did his duty and could not find fault at all. Did my siblings come back alone? Chen Lan was a little curious. Although Chen Yang was not important, he was still King Wangji on the surface. If he came back, Hongzhuo would probably not even mention it. Yes, Hongzhuo nodded as Chen Lan expected, and then explained. The princess said it would be better for King Wangji to stay there than to come back. The Wangji immortal dynasty had just returned to the Qinfeng immortal dynasty, and it really needed someone with a high enough status to control the situation there. As for Chen Yang, as the younger brother of Emperor Qinfeng and the husband of the former emperor of the immortal dynasty, his status is high enough no matter which way you look at it. More importantly, with his cultivation level, he really wouldn't be able to help much even if he came back. Huang Shu had selfish motives for telling him not to come back. She had heard everything Chen Feng said when he left. It must be very dangerous for the other 4 continents to attack Dongzhou. Keeping the children and Chen Yang far away from the West Sea is also a way of protecting them. Chen Lan took out an extremely mysterious formation diagram from his arms, which was the formation diagram of the Tiangong Emperor Destroying Formation. The extraordinary thing about this formation is that as long as it is a multiple of the number of Tiangong, countless soldiers can join the formation. You must know that although the Wind God formation is extremely mysterious, the total number of people will basically not exceed 100,000. And this, Tiangong Emperor Destruction Formation, can concentrate all the power without any restrictions. Even if there are as many soldiers as stars in the sky, they can be integrated into it. Chen Lan handed the formation diagram in his hand to Hongzhuo. Let Commander Ji and Uncle Zhao rush to the border to set up this formation. The 2 of them will personally lead the formation. Except for the scouts, all compatible soldiers will join this formation. Hongzhuo didn't talk nonsense. She always obeyed Chen Lan's orders. Especially since then, I will never disobey him. Now in Dongzhou, there is already Huang Shu, a powerful man in the late stage of the Great Emperor realm, and as a son of destiny, his combat prowess is almost at its peak. Now that Chen Lan has made another breakthrough in his cultivation, the Wind God formation formed with many Tianshu realm powerhouses from the Qinfeng immortal dynasty should be able to compete with the average early-stage Great Emperor powerhouses. As for the Tiangong Emperor Destroying Formation, with nearly 1 million troops from the entire East continent now gathered together, they should be able to withstand a strong man in the early stage of the Great Emperor. Of course, in addition to this, Long Xuanren is also a truly powerful emperor. But after all, she had just made a breakthrough and had just started to contact humans. Her personality was unpredictable, so Chen Lan still couldn't place his hope on her. I don't know when Dad will be able to break through. He is really slow. Chen Lan kept thinking about what other trump cards Dongzhou could use, and finally suddenly thought of his father who had long said he wanted to break through. I still remember that when Chen Lan was about to leave for Central Continent, Chen Jing made him a cake and said he would break through within a month. Now it's almost a month, and there's still no movement from Chen Jing. Sure enough, except for me, Chen Lan, all the people named Chen are unreliable. On this day, the Tianshu realm powerhouses scattered all over Dongzhou rushed to Kyoto one after another. Nowadays, in the entire Dongzhou, the only one that can be called Kyoto is the original Kyoto of the Qinfeng immortal dynasty. After receiving the news that all the Tianshu realm experts had arrived in Kyoto, Chen Lan gathered everyone together. Everyone, we are summoned to Beijing urgently this time because the war is about to start again. Chen Lan's words were not loud, but they contained infinite power. The Tianshu realm powerhouses in the Qinfeng immortal dynasty were not too nervous. After all, they had already expected it after receiving the news that Chen Lan asked all Tianshu realm powerhouses to return to Kyoto. And most of them knew that the entire Dongzhou army was approaching the West Sea. I won't hide it from you either. My grandfather, Emperor Qinfeng, is no longer here. When I first got the news, I was shocked and sad. But it happened. As the only powerful man in the Xuanling world who has surpassed the realm of the Great Emperor for thousands of years, he has ascended to the heavenly realm. Just when everyone thought Chen Feng was embarrassed, the turn of Chen Lan's words left almost everyone speechless. When they heard Chen Lan saying so sadly that Grandpa was gone, they were almost ready to step forward to comfort Chen Lan. Unexpectedly, Chen Lan actually described Feixiang as if he had been killed. It's just that Chen Lan didn't give them enough time to think about these irrelevant issues. The key to today's issue is mobilization before the war. Some of you may know my grandfather's deeds in preventing the emperors from the other 4 continents from invading the East continent. That's all true. Now that Emperor Qinfeng has ascended and left, several great emperors in Dongzhou have fallen, and those ambitious people are determined to commit crimes against me, Dongzhou, again. Can you bear this? Chen Lan spoke impassionedly, as if she was deeply aggrieved. Then, without waiting for anyone else to answer, he started asking and answering his own questions. I can't bear it. I have absolutely no objection to exchanges between the 5 continents of the Xuanling realm. But if their purpose is to invade Dongzhou and seize its opportunities and resources, I, Chen Lan, will never let them go. Speaking of this, Chen Lan's own terrifying aura burst out. An aura that seemed to be superior to all living things enveloped the entire place, a posture that said anyone who offends our Dongzhou will be punished no matter how far away they are. After being manipulated like this by Chen Lan, everyone felt as if there was a surge of heat in their chests. Even Huang Shu, who was watching intently, was a little excited, wishing he could go up the mountain of swords and go down to the sea of fire for Dongzhou right now. Emperor, Emperor. While the powerful men were having a meeting, Hongzhuo's voice suddenly came from a distance. Emperor, the scouts from the West Sea have sent word that there are a large number of strong men approaching quickly in the distance of the West Sea. The auras of 4 of the powerful men were shrouded in a layer of mist, and it was impossible to see any cultivation. Commander Ji and Senior Zhao Yan are already in formation, waiting for them to come ashore. Although the news that came back said that the cultivation base could not be seen clearly, but to be the vanguard of this invasion of East Continent, I am afraid that these 4 should all be powerful emperors. What a great gesture. She spoke calmly, but Chen Lan moved without any hesitation. The next moment, the surrounding space began to change, and a large teleportation circle that could cover everyone slowly took shape. Let's go, let's play in a group. With a flash of light in the Imperial Palace, except for Sun Jishu, all the Tianshu realm experts in the entire East Continent appeared on the shore of the West Sea along with Chen Lan. With the scouts arranged by Chen Lan, the opponent had been discovered thousands of miles away. A large group of people rushed to the west coast of Dongzhou, which also took some time. Chen Lan even arrived a little earlier than the other party. Feeling the approaching terrifying aura, Chen Lan's red robe made a sound in the strong wind. Shoot them back to the endless sea. There was no nonsense. Chen Lan didn't even want to have any communication with this group of people. They came towards Dongzhou aggressively. No matter what their demands or conditions were, there was nothing left to talk about. Truth is only in the mouth of the winner. Following Chen Lan's order, the 2 god-level formations, the Fengshan formation and the Tiangong Emperor Destruction formation, must be prepared. After forming the formation instantly, the Phantom of Fengshan had completely transformed into Chen Lan's appearance. Except for Chen Lan, who is far more powerful than he is now, almost all other characteristics are carved after Chen Lan. This is the role of mastery of the formation method. Whether you are fighting against the enemy or practicing on your own, learning a suitable formation method can get twice the result with half the effort. And what makes him really powerful is not just his appearance. After this wave of operations, Fengshan Ziying's strength has soared to the point where it is comparable to the early stage of the Great Emperor's realm. At the same time, Jizan and Zhao Yan's main formation, the Tiangong Emperor Destroying Formation, has been completely formed. With nearly 1 million legions, all the power gathered together seems to be enough to compete with the powerful emperor. Beat. Everything was ready, and the enemy was about to arrive. Chen Lan gave the order again, preparing to let the invaders feel the power of this attack. Boom. Without any hesitation, including Huang Shu, a powerful late-stage emperor and 2 magic formations comparable to the early-stage emperor instantly burst out with their most powerful power and rushed towards the crowd in the distance that was rapidly approaching the west coast. The 4 foreign emperors were caught off guard and were beaten solidly by these 3 attacks. They have been plotting against Dongzhou for more than a day or 2, and they all know everything that has happened in Dongzhou recently. So they also know that there is actually only one great emperor left in Dongzhou today. According to the plan, they should be like divine soldiers descending from the sky. After rushing to East Continent, they would slaughter almost half of Central Continent like chopping melons and vegetables. Then their only great emperor came forward, but he couldn't be the opponent of the 4 of them together, so they were bound to win Dongzhou. But they never expected that they would be slapped into the endless sea before they even touched the land of Dongzhou. Many of the Tianshu realm experts accompanying the opponent were seriously injured in the aftermath of this battle. As for those who have not reached the Tianshu realm in cultivation, I can only say that they are walking peacefully. In the true sense, it's okay to say no. A moment later, the four powerful emperors who fell into the endless sea once again leapt over the endless sea and looked at Chen Lan's huge Fengshen phantom from afar. How dare you hurt someone from my Shen sect? The person who spoke was an older-looking uncle. He seemed to be very dissatisfied with Chen Lan's sneak attack on them. Emperor of Dongzhou, Chen Lan. Chen Lan's words were neither condescending nor arrogant. 4 people came in the first wave, which was indeed a bit difficult for him to handle, but the pretense was simply Chen Lan's instinctive reaction. The person speaking opposite laughed a few times as if he had heard some funny joke. Ha ha ha, Emperor Dongzhou. It's really ridiculous. You are just a kid from the Tianshu realm, but you are worthy of possessing Dongzhou. I know you are the grandson of Emperor Chenfeng. Emperor Chenfeng is a genius. For the sake of your grandfather, I can spare your life. As long as you obediently gather your military power, I can give up the territory and resources that originally belonged to you, one of the 4 great immortal dynasties of the Chenfeng immortal dynasty. Chen Lan almost laughed out loud at these words. With the blessing of destiny, he also has a god-level destiny son and a heaven-level destiny child. Who dares to negotiate qualifications with him? What's wrong with Tianshu realm? That Shenzong of yours dares to come to my Dongzhou to run wild. Why am I unworthy? I'm in a good mood today, so I can spare your life. As long as you hand over all the treasures, resources and female disciples of Shenzong, I can take your life. Chen Lan's words were very simple, just like what they said when they mocked him just now. You have a low IQ and can't understand other people's sarcasm. You should be able to understand your own words. Sure enough, the opponent's great emperor was really affected, with blazing flames in his eyes. You have sharp teeth and a sharp mouth. You don't think you can resist the powerful emperor with just 2 magic circles. Chen Lan was already a little impatient. Villains sometimes talk a lot. There's so much nonsense, why don't we fight? You brat, I have to knock your teeth out. Seeing that the other party was anxious, Chen Lan suddenly became excited. Brothers, the group starts. With an order, Chen Lan entered the scene first, and Fengshen Ziying selected a strong man who was in the early stage of the Great Emperor realm. It's a pity that it was avoided. Zhao Yan and Jizan followed closely behind, and the Tiangong Emperor destroying formation seemed to be designed to defeat the few with more. Not only was their strength comparable to that of the powerful emperor. Many of the restrictions and traps of this array are aimed at extraordinary strong men, such as the space-blocking ability and powerful destructive power. Facing a strong man in the early stage of the Great Emperor, it can even stabilize one head. The powerful emperor who had spoken to Chen Lan before was the leader of the other party. His strength was at the peak of the emperor's realm. Even with the blessing of the wind god formation, Chen Lan still couldn't beat him 100%. Fortunately, he didn't have to fight on his own. There are younger brothers and sisters here, and if there is something they can do, it will be fine. If nothing happens, everything will be fine if nothing happens. In the end, the opponent still had a strong man in the middle stage of the Great Emperor who had no opponent. Just when that person was about to help and hammer Chenlan together, a real dragon suddenly roared out. Of course the person coming was Long Xuanren. Although Chen Lan was prepared not to help, since she chose to follow Chen Lan, she had no intention of being alone. Although Long Xuanren's current thinking is still very simple, one thing is absolute. That is, Chen Lan is her friend, and she also likes this friend, so of course she will not allow anyone to bully her friend. Although Long Xuanren was only in the early stage of the Great Emperor, the true dragon's body was far superior to humans in both attack and defense power. Even the opponent, a strong man in the middle stage of the Great Emperor, would not be able to gain any advantage against Long Xuanren. The 4 great emperors were originally full of confidence when they invaded East Continent from the Endless Sea. The 3 great emperors of Dongzhou fell, and the strongest Chenfeng also ascended. In the eyes of these powerful forces, Dongzhou became a piece of fish on the chopping board. The Shenzong received the news early, and without any hesitation, they decided to go out in full force. Although the resources they occupy in Central Continent are also huge, compared with the entire continent of East Continent, they are still far behind. But they didn't expect that their inevitable plan would be blocked by the Endless Sea. Dongzhou didn't know when there was such a young and powerful person in the late stage of the Great Emperor realm. In addition, the dragon monsters in the realm of the Great Emperor and the magic circle that can gather millions of soldiers were beyond their expectations. Emperor of Dongzhou, stop, we can talk. Seeing that the situation was stalemate and the outcome would be uncertain if the fight continued, the leaders of Shenzong immediately chose another plan. He came here this time to seize the opportunity, remembering that Dongzhou's power was not limited to just theirs. If it drags on any longer, the opportunity will be gone. Both they and Chen Lan will suffer losses, and only other forces will gain an advantage. When Chen Lan heard that the other party had surrendered, he pushed harder. Talk about your grandma's legs. You can hit whenever you want and stop whenever you want. If I don't beat the shit out of you today, even if you clamp it tightly. Chen Lan's words were addressed to the powerful person at the peak of the Great Emperor realm of Shenzong, but he did not take any actual actions and still only dared to hit the person in front of him who was in the early stage of the Great Emperor. Brothers and sisters, use your strength. Chen Lan could only use this method to ask Huang Shu to help him. When Huang Shu heard this, he used even more force. His strength at the late stage of the Great Emperor realm actually broke away the protective spiritual power of the Shenzong leader, and he received 2 solid punches. The leader of Shenzong, who was about to get angry, suddenly woke up after being punched twice by Huang Shu. Emperor Dongzhou, we were wrong, please stop. After the leader of Shenzong knew that he might not be able to defeat Huang Shu, he gave in even more thoroughly and even chose to give in directly. Chen Lan didn't push too hard this time, just to get some face back, otherwise it would be hard for them if the other party was defeated. Brothers and sisters, stop. Chen Lan shouted, and it was not just Huang Shu who stopped, but everyone present stopped and separated into 2 sides again. One side is floating over the West Sea, and the other side is floating on the west coast. Seeing this, the leader of the Shenzong bowed his hands towards Chen Lan. As the head of a large sect, he is still very discerning. Although Huang Shu is the most powerful person here, it is obvious that she is almost obedient to Chen Lan, so Chen Lan's opinion is the most important. Emperor Dongzhou, I am the ancestor of the Shen sect, Yi Shenji. Please forgive me for being rude before. This was said calmly, but compared to before, he was completely different. It's okay, etiquette is not for the weak. If you were in the Tianshuan realm, you would have died in the endless sea and become food for sea beasts when we met just now. How can you talk about being polite? The law of the jungle is the eternal law. Of course, Yi Shenji had known about it for a long time, but Chen Lan had made it obvious. The Emperor of Dongzhou is indeed a young man with great potential, and I admire him greatly. Chen Lan waved her hand, not intending to trade business with him. Don't you have something to talk about? Let's get started. No matter how nice you say it, if the talk breaks down later, I won't let my brother and sister beat you any easier. Yi Shenji was not upset after hearing this. Since he accepted the fact that Chen Lan was the Emperor of Dongzhou, his patience with Chen Lan has also increased infinitely. Dongzhou has a vast territory, and I just want to find a place for my son-in-law to settle down. Chen Lan frowned when he heard this. This reason was too unreasonable. Are you lying to a stupid boy? You 4 great emperors can't gain territory anywhere, so you have to come to my Dongzhou. Regarding Chen Lan's doubts, Yi Shenji's eyes also showed helplessness. People from the other 4 continents in the Xuanling world think so, but no one is willing to give up their homeland to a group of people who may become enemies at any time. Every one of them is like you today, fighting to the death to defend their homeland. Chen Lan was a little surprised. How could he talk about invasion in such a high-sounding way? Why do you have to go to other people's homes? When Yi Shenji heard this, his eyes were deep, and his face showed a look of reminiscence. Has the emperor been to Shizhou? Chen Lan shook his head. Emperor, you can go and see it if you have a chance. 2,000 years ago, Shizhou was just like Dongzhou, with outstanding people and rich real estate. As the supreme sect in Shizhou, our Shen sect has 7 powerful emperors and nearly 100 powerful people in the Tianshu realm. It's just that starting from 1,000 years ago, I suddenly discovered that Shizhou's spiritual power began to become thinner and thinner. Countless spiritual treasures and immortal materials have lost their vitality. As time goes by, the mountains and rivers of Shizhou become barren, the rivers slowly become turbid and dry up, and everything becomes lifeless. Hearing Yi Shenji's description, Chen Lan first thought of the age of ending law, but then, he immediately thought of what Chen Feng had said before, the source of the aura. The system is also very strange. There are too many secrets in this world that he cannot yet access. Chen Lan's thoughts were flowing, but Yi Shenji's narration did not stop. In the past 100 years, children born in Shizhou can no longer feel the existence of spiritual power. All kinds of stubborn diseases are rampant among mortals, and there are constant fights among immortal cultivators. In just a few years, more than 60% of the creatures in Shizhou were killed or injured. I have known for a long time that I can no longer stay in Shizhou, but I have always been unwilling to leave my homeland. It's just that the situation forced the other forces in Shizhou to unite to attack Shenzong. In the end, I had no choice but to take the remaining people and flee to 4 other continents. We traveled to 4 continents, but no one was willing to take us in. In the end, it took 3 great emperors to fall, and then we managed to gain a place on the west side of Central Continent. But I discovered that the west side of Central Continent has begun to experience thinning of spiritual power. The scene is exactly the same as that of Shizhou 1,000 years ago. They didn't know what it meant, but I knew how terrifying it was, so I thought about moving to Dongzhou and trying other things. Chen Lan also understood. What Yi Shenji said was like a virus that broke out from Shizhou and began to slowly spread to the east. And this virus has now reached Central Continent. Chen Lan is 60% sure that this virus may be the weird smell from before. What's strange is why the aura on Huangshu and others controls their thoughts and actions, while on Shizhou it represents destruction. The spiritual energy is exhausted, the seas are drying up, and the mountains are sinking. It is simply a scene of doomsday. We are the only ones who know the horror of the strange phenomenon in Shizhou, so after learning that Senior Chenfeng ascended, we rushed here quickly. At this time, Yi Shenji's words were full of sincerity, telling Chen Lan that all this was not his intention and that he couldn't help it. Chen Lan nodded after hearing this, but did not express anything and just continued to ask calmly. Do you know who else is trying to invade Dongzhou besides you? Yi Shenji was not surprised and reported a bunch of names without thinking. In addition to my Shen sect, there are Lingwu Pavilion in Central Continent, Qianjin Tower in South Continent, and Demon Forbidden Gate in Beizhou. These 3 major sects are very ambitious, and they must have a share of Dongzhou's pie. As for other forces, it's hard to say. Seeing Yi Shenji reporting these 3 major sects so confidently, Chen Lan was filled with confusion. How do you know that these 3 major forces must intend to invade? Yi Shenji looked behind Chen Lan in the direction of Chen Fengxian, and then sighed helplessly. Your Majesty, please know that this is not the first time I have attempted to invade Dongzhou. Chen Lan shook his head. He had only been here a short time ago, and with his previous cultivation, he had no way of accessing these things about the Great Emperor. But he remembered that he had heard before that the Great Emperor from other continents invaded, but Chen Feng repelled it with 1 against 2. Could it be that according to legend, one of the 2 powerful emperors who tried to invade Dongzhou was you? Yi Shenji nodded, then shook his head. I was indeed there at the time, but the invasion of Dongzhou was a decision made by our 4 major sects after consultation. There were far more than 2 powerful emperors who wanted to break into Dongzhou. Yi Shenji recalled what happened that year, with a trace of imperceptible fear in his eyes. Counting me back then, our 4 sects dispatched a total of 17 powerful emperors. I thought that we could conquer half of the world in Dongzhou. I didn't expect it was just 1 move. Senior Chenfeng drove all 16 of us into the depths of the endless sea with 1 move. I still can't forget the horror of that move. If Senior Chenfeng wanted to kill us back then, with just that 1 move, we would have been doomed. These words made Chen Lan feel extremely shocked. He did not expect that so many years ago, Chen Feng had the strength to fight against 16 great emperors alone. No wonder no matter how hard he went about in Dongzhou, Chen Feng always had an indifferent attitude. It's no wonder that as long as he is still in Dongzhou, even if there are only 4 great emperors in total in Dongzhou, the residents of the other 4 continents in the Xuanling realm will never dare to take a step beyond the realm. But this once again highlights how unreliable Chen Feng is. Things that can be easily solved must be cut off to leave so many roots behind. This time he ascended and left, but the whole mess was suddenly thrown onto Chen Lan. Chen Lan thought a lot, and finally felt that at this time, it is better to have one more friend than one more enemy. I can allow you to live in Dongzhou in the future, but from now on, you are Dongzhou people and you can't mention anything about the past. And when people from the other 3 major sects come calling in the future, you must also help and refuse any freeloading behavior. Hearing Chen Lan's words, Yi Shenji and the 3 great emperors beside him all looked happy. After running around for so many years, they finally found a place where someone was willing to take them in. Moreover, this was personally recognized by the Lord of Dongzhou. From now on, if they don't support Chen Lan as the Lord of Dongzhou, who else will they support? Don't worry, Emperor. The Shen sect will be an ordinary sect in Dongzhou from now on, obeying all arrangements of the Qinfeng immortal dynasty. If someone tries to invade Dongzhou, we will do our best to stop them. In the process of communicating with Yi Shenji, Chen Lan's eyes of destruction had been observing his behavior and emotional changes. After confirming that what Yi Shenji said and that this person was indeed credible, Chen Lan made this decision. If Chen Lan found out that Yi Shenji was lying to them, the person who faced Yi Shenji just now might have been Chen Lan's sneak attack without martial ethics. Now that Dongzhou has joined Yi Shenji and other 4 powerful emperors, its strength has once again made a qualitative leap. Now counting the power of the magic circle, Qinfeng immortal dynasty already has the strength to withstand the 8 great emperors. If Chen Feng's previous level of cultivation is not counted, Dongzhou's current lineup has even surpassed the original lineup of the 4 immortal dynasties. But at this time, Chen Lan's attention had shifted to Huang Shu. He has always been curious about one thing. Obviously, the strange aura on Huang Shu's body must not have been there originally. Since when did Huang Shu begin to have a sad aura that could even affect the minds of the powerful emperors in the Tianshu realm and those in seclusion? So, while Shenzong went to arrange for the surviving personnel, Chen Lan had already called Huang Shu into his tent alone. At the same time, a spatial realm was added to the tent. In the current main tent, whether it is sounds or living creatures, there is no way in or out. Brother and sister, come here and do me a favor. Huang Shu was very confused when he heard this. Although Chen Lan's cultivation level was not as high as hers, she seemed to be able to handle everything well. There were very few things that Chen Lan couldn't do but needed her help. How? Huang Shu's voice was not loud. He did not reject Chen Lan directly, but agreed. I want to know, when did my sister-in-law's body start to have that weird, sad aura? If there is any doubt that the power that destroyed Shizhou was the power in Huang Shu, then knowing the source of the strange aura is the most important thing. Huang Shu was stunned when he heard this. He seemed to have never felt that he needed to consider this issue. Because similar unusual things had a good explanation before Chen Lan appeared, that is, destiny. But now Chen Lan seems to have proven that the strange aura is not destiny, but just an evil force that affects people's minds. So after Huang Shu heard Chen Lan's question, he thought about it carefully. Her expression kept changing, as if she was thinking of something from the past that she didn't want to mention. It seems that it appeared during my escape. I mistakenly entered a strange space crack, where it seemed that time did not even flow. After I opened my eyes, my body became warm, and there was a sad atmosphere in my body. Chen Lan could only shake his head when he heard this. According to Huang Shu, it was a space where time did not flow. There may be treasures in the space that have been passed down by countless civilizations but are still precious, or it may really just open Pandora's box. It seems that after the incident in Dongzhou is over, Chen Lan still needs to go to Shizhou in person to investigate what is going on. The outstanding Shizhou has become a wasteland. Chapter 89. For the next half-month, no outsiders showed up in Dongzhou. With the help of Yi Shenji, everyone in Shenzong had successfully moved into Dongzhou. After Yi Shenji and the other 4 great emperors settled the Shenzong disciples, they also went to the west coast very faithfully and guarded Dongzhou with Chen Lan. 8 powerful emperors guard the border, and the strength of Dongzhou is no longer weaker than any of the other 4 continents. But according to Yi Shenji, those who care about Dongzhou are the top forces from the 3 continents. Together, they have at least 13 powerful emperors. Even Chen Lan was speechless after receiving the news. This world level really increases with his strength. It is obvious that few strong people in Tianshu realm were born before, and it is even rarer to see strong emperors. But after Chen Feng ascended, why did the great emperors and powerful men of the Xuanling realm just spring up like bamboo shoots after a rain, and sneak out? Chen Lan has no intention of leaving the west coast. If the powerful emperor fights on the land of Dongzhou, it will have a huge impact on ordinary monks and the land. Therefore, if the battlefield of the great emperor realm can be controlled in the endless sea, that would be the best choice. Ding, a new son of destiny is detected approaching. Luck level, Tiandao level. Holy shit, the sound of the system rang in Chen Lan's ears, making him jump 3 feet high in shock. Another son of destiny, and a heavenly Dao level 1 at that. How can he be better than Huang Shu? I just don't know how well this son of destiny is developing. If this heavenly Dao level son of destiny comes to attack his emperor, then he really has no confidence that he can withstand it. After all, there was a heavenly son of destiny beside him. Chen Lan was still shocked when he thought of the aura of the Yuanshu emperor in that space before. Xiaoyun's current opportunity has only touched the tip of the iceberg, but Chen Lan knows that he can even fight across 2 realms. Come on, let's go out and take a look. It's a blessing, not a curse, but it's a curse that cannot be avoided. Between fear and deception, Chen Lan chose to wait and see before talking. Yi Shenji and others were a little surprised. Why did Chen Lan suddenly want to go out? But after they followed Chen Lan out of the camp, they suddenly sensed a breath approaching Dongzhou 100 miles away. Yi Shenji's eyes were filled with shock. Even though he had tried his best to overestimate Chen Lan, he didn't expect it. Even he, a strong man at the peak of the great emperor realm, didn't notice this, but Chen Lan actually noticed it so much earlier than him. Who is trespassing on Dongzhou? The figure was getting closer and closer. Yi Shenji's aura exploded, and terrifying power poured in towards the person in front of him. After all, he is a new member of the team, so it is necessary to express himself in front of Chen Lan. At this time, Yi Shenji was already acting like a master. If it weren't for his respectful attitude towards Chen Lan, others would have thought that he was a native of Dongzhou. The figure that was approaching rapidly was startled by the terrifying momentum, and he immediately used all his spiritual power to resist, but was still easily overturned. Tianshuan realm. After finding out the realm of the visitor, Chen Lan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It's easier to deal with the Tianshuan realm. Even if you are the son of destiny, you can't cross 2 realms to defeat so many great emperors like me. And judging from her aura, she was about 20 years old. She was dressed in white and had a veil covering her face. Senior, I'm at the Feng family in Shananzhou, Feng Li. I came to Dongzhou just for a tour. I mean no offense. Please show your respect. Feng Li's speech and behavior were very elegant, as if she were a young lady from a wealthy family traveling. Yi Shenji did not respond, but turned his gaze to Chen Lan aside. After all, Chen Lan is the one who instigated Suan here. Feng Li obviously also noticed this handsome man who was standing even further forward than the peak emperor. His red clothes are eye-catching, and his handsome face is enough to make women all over the world fall in love with him. Even if she is completely unaffected by the succubus's physique, she still can't help but take a second look. After all, succubus physique is a conceptual skill, but Shuai does real damage and is unavoidable. Chen Lan had been sizing up Feng Li from the beginning, and when she saw them turning the topic to her, she stared at Feng Li with interest. Miss Feng Li is here to practice. Feng Li nodded seriously, then looked at Chen Lan seriously. Chen Lan immediately shook his head, looking incomprehensible. Miss Feng is joking. The Feng family in Nanzhou is also a top family. Considering Miss Feng's age and cultivation level, she is considered to be among the best among the younger generation in the entire Xuanling world. If Miss Feng is really a member of the Feng family, would you be reluctant to part with a 7th grade divine enlightenment pill because of your internal injuries? If you delay it any longer, it will leave the root of the disease. Chen Lan would never let down his guard easily towards the son of destiny. From the moment they first met, Chen Lan had always opened the eyes of deception. It can be said that he has seen everything that should be seen and what should not be seen. Through the veil, Chen Lan saw the face behind the veil. Feng Li's face is indeed worthy of the 3 words, Tiandao level. I am afraid that all the stars in the sky will become dim in front of her. It is as bright as spring flowers, and as bright as autumn moon. Since Chen Lan traveled through time, she has eaten and seen them before. Whether it's girls like Xie Qingqing or Yi Qing, aloof goddesses like Meng Hong, or twin sisters Hua Jiwaner and Ji Chaoer who have novel and mature gameplay, they are all inferior in comparison. When Chen Lan saw Feng Li's true appearance for the first time, he was stunned for several breaths, just like when someone called him, and it took him a long time to react. What he saw under his eyes was not only the truest side hidden behind the fabric, but also her internal injuries that were so serious that they had damaged her fundamentals. The reason why this internal injury is said to be serious is because, without the 7th grade spiritual pill, Qi Shen Dan, Feng Li's cultivation might have been at this point in her life. The divine enlightenment pill may be an unattainable dream for ordinary people, but for a big family like the Feng family, it is easy to take out a few pills. With Feng Li's talent, the Feng family really had no reason not to help her treat her injuries. When Feng Li heard Chen Lan's words, her eyes suddenly dimmed a lot, and there was infinite sadness in her eyes, but her face still pretended to be nonchalant. I'm sorry. My experience is not over yet. When I return to my family, I will naturally cure this hidden disease. Chen Lan shook his head. This internal injury becomes more and more difficult to cure as it drags on. In order not to affect the root cause, returning to the family as quickly as possible is the real top priority. I advise Miss Feng not to try to deceive me. If Miss Feng is in trouble, she might have to rely on my help to escape. Feng Li fell into deep thought after hearing this, obviously thinking about the credibility of what Chen Lan said. Seeing that Feng Li was still hesitating, Chen Lan was not in a hurry. For the Destiny Child, the succubus physique was much less effective. Therefore, if you want to deceive the Son of Destiny, a greater part of it depends on Chen Lan's operation. Just when Feng Li was hesitant and didn't know whether to tell the truth, Chen Lan had already handed a 7th grade spiritual pill, the Qishan pill, to her lips. Through that layer of veil, Chen Lan accurately delivered the enlightenment pill to Feng Li's mouth. Eat first, healing is important. Seeing that Chen Lan looked like he had everything under control, Feng Li admitted that if she hadn't been in such a bad mood now, she might have actually been attracted to Chen Lan. After the Qishan pill was sent, control had come to Feng Li's hands. I saw that she didn't do too many tests, so she swallowed the pill into her belly. The next moment, Feng Li's whole body became warm, her hidden internal injuries disappeared in an instant, and there was even a faint hint of a breakthrough. The Son of Destiny is so unreasonable that he can make breakthroughs in any environment and situation. After Feng Li's treatment was completed, her body became extremely comfortable, but she still remembered Chen Lan's otherworldly look just now. I am really from the Feng family. Feng Li suddenly said something like this. Many people around her couldn't understand it, but Chen Lan knew that she was preparing to tell the truth. The Feng family of Nanzhou is indeed considered to be the first sect in Nanzhou. Just a month ago, Nanzhou Qianjin Tower suddenly went crazy and attacked all the major forces. My Feng family is rich in products and can be regarded as one of the richest places. Naturally, Qianjin Tower has also targeted us. For 2 days and 2 nights, the fighting between the Qianjin Tower and the Feng family members did not end. In the end, because the Feng family only had one powerful emperor, the ancestor, my family's ancestor was killed and all the people were slaughtered. Chen Lan nodded when he heard this, but it was a little strange. Why does this story seem a bit familiar? Did Xiao Yun have the same story before? Almost all of his family was wiped out, and then he slowly climbed up, seeking opportunities for revenge bit by bit. The ancestor of my clan tried his best to send me off the battlefield before he died and let me go east. They said that among the 5 continents in the Xuanling realm, there is only Dongzhou, and people from Qianjin Tower dare not go there. Because Emperor Qianfeng is here in Dongzhou. As long as Emperor Qianfeng is around, Dongzhou will not be watched by powerful people from other continents. When Chen Lan heard this, he could only shake his head helplessly. If Chen Feng was still in Dongzhou, then no one would dare to invade Dongzhou. After all, according to Yi Shenji, Chen Feng defeated 17 great emperors by himself and saved Dongzhou by force. But Feng Li probably doesn't know that Chen Feng has ascended now, and there is no absolutely safe place in the Xuanling world. My grandfather, Emperor Qianfeng, has ascended. Now Dongzhou cannot stop those who are chasing you. Chen Lan's words were very direct. If you come here to seek protection from Qianfeng, you may be disappointed. Feng Li's eyes completely dimmed when she heard this. Could it be that in the end, she still couldn't escape the pursuit, or had no chance to avenge her family? Just when she was about to be completely disappointed, Chen Lan spoke again. However, we will still fight to the death against the invaders of Dongzhou. If you don't mind, Dongzhou welcomes you. Chen Lan's words were resounding, but the most charming thing was the momentum of not giving up an inch in order to defend the territory. Chen Lan had mastered this momentum at this time, and was bound to leave a deep impression on Feng Li. Feng Li. This sound came from the depths of the endless sea. It was the arrival of the people who were chasing Feng Li. Soon, 7 Tianshu realm powerhouses and 1 early great emperor powerhouse appeared within the range of everyone's perception. Seeing that Chen Lan still looked unfazed, Yi Shenji further confirmed that Chen Lan's perception ability was stronger than his, and he really didn't know how to write the word fear at all. This sound was full of anger. A group of strong men from the Tianshu realm and even the Great Emperor realm were actually slipped across the entire endless sea by a little girl from the Tianshuan realm who had suffered internal injuries. If Feng Li hadn't been stopped by Chen Lan, I'm afraid she might have sneaked into Dongzhou and hidden herself, and he might not be able to find her in Qianjin Tower. Feng Li, you can't escape. The 8 people in Qianjin Tower stared at Feng Li, as if they couldn't hold anyone else in their eyes. Before Feng Li could speak, Chen Lan could no longer bear it. No, are you blind? You can't see me with so many people standing here. Chen Lan's words were unpleasant, but the people in Qianjin Tower didn't seem to care. After so many years, their exploration of Dongzhou has not stopped for a moment. Emperor Qianfang ascended and the 3 great emperors fell. Let alone Dongzhou facing the simultaneous attack of 4 sects, even one of them, Qianjin Tower, is enough to completely overwhelm Dongzhou. Stupid Dongzhou people, just scream as much as you want. Soon, the host will come in person, and you won't even be able to live. Give you some bean paste. Chen Lan almost laughed out loud when he heard this. How did his brain reach the realm of the Great Emperor? It seems that the requirements for IQ in the realm of the Great Emperor are very relaxed. Anyone can become a strong emperor. Don't let him go. After Chen Lan's words fell, Yi Shenji and Huang Shu, who had been following Chen Lan, exerted their strength at the same time. The 2 powers at the peak of the Great Emperor realm almost crushed the strong man in the early stage of the Great Emperor in the air. Move. In the eyes of the powerful emperor, it only took 2 breaths to go from disdain to surprise to fear. When he came here just now, his attention was always on Feng Li. Next is Chen Lan, who is standing at the front. Both his position and his unique temperament are enough to attract attention. But he never expected that not far behind Chen Lan, there were 2 powerful men who were comparable to the pinnacle of the great emperor's realm. Impossible, how can there be so many powerful emperors in Dongzhou? This great emperor of Qianjin Tower obviously didn't know Yi Shenji. Maybe he didn't participate in the battle with Chen Feng, which also made him not have the slightest respect for Dongzhou. Yi Shenji didn't want to explain anything to him, because based on his experience, this emperor would probably not survive. Go down and ask your mother. Chen Lan still wanted to kill someone, but when he saw that the powerful emperor was being restrained, he couldn't help but extend his most sincere greetings to his mother. With a wave of Chen Lan's hand, the vitality of the powerful emperor began to dissipate rapidly. Yi Shenji and Huang Shu took action at the same time, and he died happily. As for the 7 powerful men in the Tianshu realm, all the things they had done with them were turned into smoke. The next moment, blood rained from the sky, and the earth shook violently, as if the end was coming. This is the strange phenomenon of heaven and earth caused by the fall of the powerful emperor. After Emperor Mu Yu, the 2nd emperor in Dongzhou who was killed rather than devoured appeared. You, thank you. Feng Li didn't care about the strange phenomena of heaven and earth. Because not long ago, she had just seen such a vision of heaven and earth when the ancestor of the Feng family died. Now that one of the culprits was killed, she felt extremely happy. Chen Lan waved his hand. For the Destiny Child with a big brain, his main criterion for dealing with him was to increase his favorability. Even though Xiaoyun has already worshipped him as his teacher, he still can't help but try to please him sometimes, which can make him feel more at ease. You're welcome, I said you are welcome in Dongzhou. Chen Lan turned slightly sideways, assumed what he thought was the most handsome pose, and pointed behind him very coolly. The world behind me is for you to roam. If anything happens, just call me Chen Lan. Feng Li was stunned when she heard this. There was a time when she was so high-spirited and she was also protected behind her. During this period of escape, she was frightened day and night, thinking that she would have to live like this from now on, but she didn't expect that someone would stand in front of her again so soon. Chen Lan didn't expect that her subconscious pretense would leave such a good impression on Feng Li. Feng Li thought to herself, looking at Chen Lan from time to time, her eyes becoming more determined. Thank you, but I think I should go back to Nanzhou. This time it was Chen Lan's turn to be shocked. Could it be that my dirty little thoughts were discovered? Why did you scare people away? But, before Chen Lan could say anything, she was interrupted by Feng Li. I don't want to hide behind other people anymore. I will survive on my own in Nanzhou and strive for a world of my own. Chen Lan was stunned when he heard this. Are all the sons of destiny so unique? Now Chen Lan is a little lucky. Fortunately, when she met Xiao Yun, he was really still young. Otherwise, I am afraid that like Huangshu before and Feng Li now, his blood boils for no reason, and then he refuses to escape and fights with all his strength. Okay, then take care of yourself. Chen Lan himself does not have such thoughts, but as a good young man of the new era, he can accept any idea that breaks the rules. Feng Li became even more curious about Chen Lan when she saw that Chen Lan didn't persuade her. Thank you for the elixir and your help. See you soon. Seeing Feng Li turn around and leave, Chen Lan's eyes became deep and she didn't know whether it was good or bad to let her go this time. At this time, Huangshu stood behind Chen Lan and sighed softly. Chen Lan was a little curious, so she simply turned to look at Huangshu behind her, and met her melancholy eyes. Emperor, don't worry, this girl has her own way to go. Chen Lan looked at Huangshu curiously. My younger siblings seem to like her very much. Huangshu nodded after hearing this. Yes, this girl reminds me of my former self. Originally, Chen Lan had always wanted to ask why Huangshu gave up the idea of temporarily avoiding the edge in the Qinfang immortal dynasty when he was in Liuyang City, but chose to return to the Wangji immortal dynasty at the most precarious time. It's just that this incident can be regarded as a scar in Huangshu's heart, so Chen Lan has been subconsciously avoiding this topic. But now that Huangshu had taken the initiative to mention this matter, he no longer had to hide it. Why did my sister-in-law choose this way? Facing Chen Lan's question, Huangshu was not surprised. She also knew that there must be many people who were also concerned about this issue, but they did not dare to ask it for various reasons. Now that she saw Feng Li, she felt that everything in the past was in the past, and the past events were nothing more than talk topics. It's actually very simple. I don't accept it. I am a mountain, not a stream. I will climb to the top of the mountain and look down upon the small mountains. How can you be willing to hide behind a man and live an ignoble existence? Huangshu's words were very plain, but the more plainly they were said, the more powerful they became. Chen Lan was also shocked by these words. Only then did he understand that they are all the proud ones of heaven and they all have their own pride. This has nothing to do with cultivation, experience, or gender. There is no need to hide the sharp edge of a peerless sword. I seem to understand somewhat. After Huangshu's explanation, Chen Lan also understood what Feng Li meant. In this case, he could only look forward to seeing each other next time. At the same time, Nanzhou Qianjin Tower. Boss, Lao Wu's soul lamp is out. The soul lamp is an important item for remotely confirming whether a person is still alive. Lao Wu was the powerful emperor-level man who was beaten to death by Huangshu and Yi Shenji. What, isn't he going to chase the fish that slipped through the net in the Feng family? How can he, who is in the realm of the great emperor, still be tricked by a little girl in the Tianshuan realm? The person who came to report the news could only shake his head. I don't know. None of the Tianshu realm experts who followed Lao Wu came back. The last news is that they pursued the Endless Sea. The boss fell into deep thought after hearing this. The Endless Sea. Is it a sea beast from the Endless Sea? I've never heard of an emperor-level sea beast anywhere in the Endless Sea. Besides, even if there is, it's impossible for him to escape with his strength. The boss's analysis was very reasonable. How did he know that their fifth child came to Chen Lan, the sixth child, and there were 5 people and 6 people in front of him? Then being killed is not a good thing. The person who reported the news was the owner of Qianjin Tower and the third among the 5 great emperors. What should we do? Do you want to send someone to look for it? When the boss heard this, he looked at the third child like a fool. Lao Wu can't escape even in the early stages of the great emperor. Who do you want to send to find someone who can come back alive? The top priority is to unite with the other 3 continents to plot the East continent. Once this is done, with the land and resources of Dongzhou, our cultivation can be further improved. When the time comes, we will go together to find the murderer and avenge Lao Wu. The third child listened to the boss's words very seriously and felt that his boss was really a genius, so he immediately turned around and went to make arrangements. At this time, the ancestors of the 2 sects of Zhongzhou Lingwu Pavilion and Beizhou Forbidden Demon sect were ready to go, and all the disciples above the Tianshuan realm were eager to try, as if what was about to come was just a relaxing spring outing. Shen Zong is missing. What happened? They originally planned to invade Dongzhou together. Not only them, Shenzong is also in their camp. I just didn't expect that now, when the battle was approaching, Shenzong would disappear in an instant as if he had evaporated from the world. No matter, if they don't come, they won't come. Our 3 major sects have a total of 13 powerful people in the realm of the great emperor. It's not a piece of cake to take down Dongzhou, which has lost its emperor. Good, let's go. This conversation echoed in both Dongzhou and Beizhou, but what they didn't know was that a powerful emperor had already died in Qianjin Tower in Nanzhou, and he died in Dongzhou. 2 months have passed since Fengli left Dongzhou, and Chen Lan and others are still guarding the west coast. Since we know that the enemy will definitely come, it is better to prepare in advance than to rush into battle. Chen Lan and others simply stayed on the west coast, quietly waiting for the enemy's arrival. Coming. This time, Yi Shenji was the first to notice the enemy's movements. When everyone walked out of the camp, their eyes slowly dimmed. On the endless sea, facing Chen Lan and others, were 12 great emperors and nearly 100 Tianshu realm experts behind them. Who are you? Chen Lan's tone was cold. The other party's menacing attitude must not be a good thing anyway. Facing Chen Lan, the leader of the other party didn't seem surprised. Who are we? We are the new owners of Dongzhou. In their eyes, Chen Lan ascended and left, and Dongzhou was just their fat that could be swallowed at any time. It's just that this piece of fat has now grown bones. If you come up desperately and want to bite someone, the chance of being injured is not small. Chen Lan smiled disdainfully, and then threw out the body of the powerful early emperor. What a coincidence, he said the same thing not long ago. It's just that now I can't seem to speak anymore. Chen Lan's voice was very calm, but the movements of his hands were indeed extremely smooth. He threw the corpse of a great emperor out without making a move. This scene was enough to shock the Xuanling world for 100 years. Lao Wu. Among the 12 powerful emperors opposite, there were of course people from Nanzhou Qianjin Tower. After seeing Lao Wu's body, the anger in their eyes had almost turned into reality. Oh, do you know each other? Chen Lan is still angry and won't give up. Since they are enemies rather than friends, he won't be polite. I saw Chen Lan throwing the corpse of the powerful emperor towards his face with one kick. The boss of Qianjin Tower couldn't dodge and was directly hit by the corpse of his 6th brother. The boss of Qianjin Tower was completely crazy at this time. He could no longer control his power and began to rush towards Chen Lan crazily. Disperse. They are also leaders of large sects. The boss of Qianjin Tower is only at the late stage of the Great Emperor realm, while Yi Shenji is already at the peak of the Great Emperor realm. With a soft drink, the sound whistling towards Chen Lan was dispersed, leaving only a trace of dust and smoke. Yi Shenji. Seeing Yi Shenji appear and take action, everyone on the other side opened their mouths in surprise. We obviously agreed to be a teammate, but why did you go to be the opponent's teammate? Moreover, you are still the main fighting force. What are you trying to do? Yi Shenji said nothing. After what happened last time Feng Li appeared, he has always felt that Chen Lan is really unfathomable and must not be fooled by superficial phenomena. Yi Shenji, what are you doing? The boss of Qianjin Tower suppressed anger in his tone. Yi Shenji must be a strong man at the peak of the Great Emperor realm. If possible, he did not want to be his enemy. Nothing, just protecting our homeland. Yi Shenji's tone was very plain, just like Chen Lan. Although he and Chen Lan had not known each other for a long time, he had benefited a lot from Chen Lan's mentality and approach to things. The boss of Qianjin Tower immediately laughed out loud when he heard this. Defend your homeland, what a good protector of your homeland. The boss of Qianjin Tower burst out with all his strength, but found that he was still suppressed by Yi Shenji. Then he roared behind him. When are you going to see it again? Do it. The people behind him immediately came to their senses after hearing this. In fact, they didn't want to be distracted, but they just didn't know why, but they always felt that there was a magical power in the handsome young man opposite, which constantly attracted their attention and eyes. Just do it, I'm afraid you won't do it. Dry. Chen Lan gave an order, and the great formation, which had been preparing for months, and the powerful emperors who had been maintaining their best condition stepped forward directly. Like a wild horse running wild, they rushed towards each other crazily, as if they wanted to bite them into pieces. Dongzhou now has 2 great formations, and its strength is comparable to the 8 powerful emperors. Moreover, the cultivation levels of Huangshu and Yi Shenji are even better than the 2 strongest emperors on the other side. Between the 2 of them fighting, they even occupy upside. Moreover, Chen Lan always knew that these enemies would arrive one day, so they waited for work. Facing the several great emperors who had just relied on their spiritual power to cross the endless sea, they did not fall behind in a short period of time. The endless sea is full of rough waves. The endless sea of the Xuanling realm has probably never seen a scene like this before, with a full dozen powerful men at the level of the great emperor fighting each other. The terrifying aftermath swept around. Within hundreds of miles of the battlefield, the seawater boiled, monsters died, and the nearby land was turned into powder. But it is difficult for 2 fists to defeat 4 hands, let alone a contest between top experts like the great emperor. Chen Lan only felt that it was becoming more and more difficult for him to resist. Even if he used all the methods he could use now, he still could not prevent the fact that he was slowly losing. And Chen Lan is not the most uncomfortable one, compared to Chen Lan who controls the Wind God formation. Zhao Yan and Ji Zan, who control the Tiangong Emperor Destruction Formation, with millions of troops on the side, are truly unstoppable. At the critical moment when they could no longer hold on and millions of soldiers were about to be counterattacked, a powerful and mysterious aura quickly spread from the depths of Dongzhou to the surrounding areas. The terrifying power made even the powerful emperors feel palpitated. Immediately afterwards, the wind roared, and a figure accompanied by the breeze instantly appeared in the center of the battlefield. You're finally out of seclusion. Father. That's right, the person who came was none other than Chen Jing, who had been in seclusion for a long time. I still remember that a long time ago, Chen Jing told him that he would be able to break through to the realm of the great emperor in just 1 month. Counting from that time, 3 or 4 months have passed, and Chen Jing has not disappointed. I had a little insight, so I made a breakthrough. Chen Jing's words were calm, as if it was something as simple as eating and drinking tea. But after seeing the spiritual power that contained a faint aura of wind spirit on his body just now, Chen Lan also knew that Chen Jing's strength must be far beyond that of ordinary emperors when he comes out of seclusion this time. Then you now, Chen Lan couldn't help but ask, because with his delusion-breaking eyes, he couldn't even see through Chen Jing's cultivation. This kind of situation has only been seen in Chen Feng before. Chen Jing shook his head. He guessed that Chen Lan was thinking of Chen Feng, which negated Chen Lan's guess. It's still just the early stage of the great emperor, but there are some more special things. You will naturally understand it in the future. Dad, Grandpa is gone, you are going to succeed the Riddler. However, Chen Lan made a rough guess. I am afraid that this is something that can only be understood by those stronger than the emperor, and his father realized it in advance. Then can you beat them now? Chen Lan just started chatting with Chen Jing like no one else was watching, and plotted loudly. But just now, Chen Jing suddenly appeared, with such shocking momentum that everyone around him stopped. At this time, they did not dare to act rashly, because they also felt the dangerous aura of Chen Feng from Chen Jing's body many years ago. However, in Chen Lan's expectant eyes, Chen Jing shook his head helplessly. Seeing him shaking his head, Chen Lan became nervous again. The 12 great emperors breathed a sigh of relief. I can only fight 10. What Chen Jing said next was abrupt and unexpected, but it was also reasonable. Not only are none of them surnamed Chen Good, but none of them are good at pretending. Chen Lan didn't have time to complain about Chen Jing, after all, he had to pretend to. He was seen directly dispersing the Fengshan formation, turning around and looking at the confused eldest brothers opposite him with great arrogance. Here are 10 people who are not afraid of death, come forward. When did the emperors from the other 3 continents suffer from this kind of anger? They ignored Chen Lan's words and directly crushed him. Seeing this, Chen Lan shrank behind Chen Jing and pointed at the eldest brother closest to him. Dad, cut him. Chen Jing clenched his fists tightly, but it was not that he was dissatisfied with the enemy, but that he finally understood the feeling that Chen Feng told him before, that he wanted to beat him but was afraid that he would not be able to control himself and break it. Chen Jing silently recited 3 times in his heart, "My dear son, my dear son, my dear son," and then he suppressed his restless heart and chose to vent his anger on the elder brother opposite him. Boom! Chen Jing's every move was filled with fierce hurricane force, and he raised his hand to sweep the person in front several miles away. Immediately afterwards, a strong wind suddenly rose, and the 9 powerful emperors worked together to stabilize themselves and not be blown away like the previous person. Chen Jing was so strict in his words. If he said he could fight 10, he could fight 10. Neither bragging nor being humble, he won't hit anyone with more than 1 person, nor will he hit anyone with less than 1 person. Chen Lan silently took a few steps back, guarding the 3 great emperors of Shenzong in front of him. Lao Yi, brothers and sisters, come on. Yi Shenji and Huang Shu on the side were originally ready to go up to help. After hearing Chen Lan's words, they did not stop and rushed directly towards the 2 remaining emperors of Chen Jingqiao. Yi Shenji had some grudges about following Chen Lan before. After all, even if Shenzong fell, his strength was almost the same as that of Dongzhou, but he would be inferior to them. Although he was living under someone else's roof, and although he also knew that it was Chen Lan's kindness that took them in, and everyone understood the reason, the grudge deep in his heart was difficult to eliminate. Now, that trace of grudge has completely disappeared. The reason is simple, because Chen Jing can fight 10. The law of the jungle is the law of any world. Dongzhou has been stable for so many years because Chen Feng can fight 16. Emperor Chen Feng ascended, and everyone thought that the opportunity had come. When they swarmed in, they discovered that there was another Chen Lan in Dongzhou. With his meager strength in the Tianshu realm, he used various tricks to block all the great emperors. But Chen Lan is still young after all, but his father is no longer young. There are not many people who can fight 1 against many in the realm of the great emperor, and Henggu is the only one who can fight 1 against 10. That person used to be Emperor Chen Feng, but now he is Emperor Chen Jing. Although Yi Shenji's mood was complicated, he could be considered to have completely returned home at this time. After all, each of the Chen family members was more and more perverted, and he did not want to be his enemy. Chen Lan looked at the foreign emperor who was being suppressed and beaten in front of him, and felt only excitement in his heart. Jia Jia Jia, from now on, in the entire Xuanling world, I will fight whoever I want. Wow, click, click. Chen Lan expressed his inner emotions with different laughter, forcing the 3 powerful emperors who were protected in front of him to break out in cold sweat and send chills down his back. Then, he patted the shoulders of the 3 great emperors in front of him and spoke in a particularly heroic tone. Starting tomorrow, the 3 of you will mess with me. The 4 of us will bully women, bully women, bully women, and bully women all over the Xuanling realm. At this moment when Chen Lan was furious, the battle between Chen Jing and others was about to come to an end. With 1 against 10, Chen Jing had the upper hand from beginning to end. Although Yi Shenji and Huang Shu are not as outrageous as Chen Feng and Chen Jing, they are still absolute top powerhouses. When fighting alone, they are rarely defeated by anyone. There was no communication. Seeing that the situation was not right, the emperors of Nanzhou slowly moved to the edge, ready to escape at any time. But Chen Lan's eyes are so sharp, staring at everyone's subtle movements from beginning to end. Dad, those guys in Nanzhou are trying to escape, so kill them first. We killed a great emperor from Nanzhou before, and we have the deepest hatred against them. As soon as Chen Lan's voice came out, not only Chen Jing, but the great emperors from the other 2 continents also paid their attention. They were all shocked when they saw that several people in Nanzhou Qianjin Tower actually moved to the edge in unison. Everyone is 6th. Chen Jing immediately focused on these emperors from Qianjin Tower, and the emperors from the other two continents also naturally made way for Chen Jing. If you are unkind, you can still blame me for being unjust. To be honest, they had long wanted to quit, but they didn't expect that these great emperors in Qianjin Tower would be so shameless and would run away without even saying hello. Zhongzhou Lingwu Pavilion, Beizhou Forbidden Demon Gate, if you help me kill these guys in Nanzhou, I, Dongzhou, can forget about the past. Chen Lan also saw the little thoughts of the emperors of the other two continents. If they were allowed to mess with each other, it would be much easier to solve the problem. Otherwise, even if you were lucky enough to escape today, there will no longer be a place for the Lingwu Pavilion and the Forbidden Demon sect in the Xuanling realm. Now that Chen Jing's strength is there, they can escape, but the monk cannot escape the temple. As long as Chen Lan makes up his mind not to let them go, they will definitely have no place to stand. And there is an endless sea of distance between them. They are brought together because of their interests. How can there be such a solid friendship? At most, they are just teammates, and teammates are for sale. Feeling the looks from teammates around them, the emperors in Qianjin Tower cursed in their hearts. It was fine when I came here, but I can't go back. Dry. I don't know who shouted loudly, and the 8 great emperors from Lingwu Pavilion and Forbidden Demon sect immediately attacked the emperor from Qianjin Tower at the same time. There is no need to discuss this at all. The people present are all powerful emperors, and everything can be revealed at one point. The emperors in Qianjin Tower were already on the verge of tears. Being surrounded by 8 emperors, and being watched by Chen Jing, Huang Shu, and Yi Shenji, they didn't even have a chance to escape. Don't let anyone go. I don't know if it's really because the emperor of Qianjin Tower has a grudge against me, or if he's trying to clear the way for Feng Li. Chen Lan kept encouraging the powerful emperors of Central Continent and Beizhou to take action. Chen Jing, Huang Shu, and Yi Shenji also cooperated very well with Chen Lan, constantly looking for flaws in the 4 surrounded emperors. At the same time, they were also watching the 12 great emperors fighting. If someone wants to ignore Chen Lan's words and run away directly, whether it's from Qianjin Tower or a strong person from the other 2 major forces, they won't let him go. You are crazy. Do you really think that if you kill me, they will let you go? Think about it. If you were so powerful, would you allow those who tried to attack you to live? The boss of Qianjin Tower was beaten so hard that he could only try to persuade these former allies. His words were an obvious provocation and could easily be detected. But after hearing this, the powerful emperors of the 2 major forces couldn't help but follow his words and think, what if they had as much power as Chen Jing? Not to mention those who have done something to them, the entire Xuanling world must be unified. Seeing their hesitation, the boss of Qianjin Tower felt happy. This trick really worked. Third brother. Along with his roar, one of the powerful emperors was ignited with a burst of soul fire. As his soul continues to be burned, Laosan's own strength is also growing visibly to the naked eye. Kill, the third child shouted, and the terrifying spiritual power exploded, and he actually blocked the 8 great emperors who had some clones in the first place. This is Laosan's unique stunt, which burns his own soul power and explodes with terrifying power in a short period of time. But once used, the burning of the soul will never stop, and only death awaits him. Because of this, this method has become the most suitable method after the crisis is interrupted. Seeing that the 8 great emperors were blocked by the third child, the remaining 3 great emperors in Qianjin Tower did not communicate with each other, but they all turned around and ran away together. Just wanting to escape from the current situation is almost impossible. Because Chen Jing and Chen Lan had been paying attention to this battle from the beginning to the end. Where to go? Chen Lan didn't need to speak. Chen Jing had already stepped forward. Wherever the hurricane passes through, the powerful emperor has nowhere to hide. Get back. Chen Jing just raised his hand slightly, and with the terrifying power that could withstand 10 great emperors, he roared towards the boss of Qianjin Tower. Bang! This was the sound left by the moment Chen Jing's attack came into contact with the Qianjin Tower boss's cheek. The next second, several great emperors in Qianjin Tower were slapped back to their original positions. Boss. The third child is the most anxious of all. He does not hesitate to burn his soul and wants to burst out with powerful power just to let the boss and others escape. Now that his soul is almost burned out, and the boss and the others are still surrounded, then his death was not in vain. The eldest brother himself never thought that he would see the third child again so soon. He originally thought that it was already time to say goodbye, but he didn't expect that the brothers would be reunited today. The eldest brother looked at the third child and his good brother with some guilt. It was all because he coveted Dongzhou's resources, causing his brothers to die in front of him bit by bit. We fought hard. The one who spoke was the boss of Qianjin Tower. Now that it was like this, he still couldn't escape. That would be a dead end. After thinking about this, the boss no longer struggled with whether he could escape. It is better to die in a dignified manner than to die in an unclear manner. At this time, he had already unleashed the most powerful force in his life, especially his imposing manner, which was intimidating. But after going completely crazy, his target was not the powerful emperors of the other two major forces. It wasn't Chen Jing, Huang Shu, and Yi Shenji who were watching eagerly from the side, but Chen Lan who was hiding behind the three great emperors and pointing at them. As soon as the Qianjin Tower boss's eyes fell on Chen Lan had already felt it. He felt a shock all over his body, and a bad premonition came into his heart. I've given you such a shame, haven't I? Seeing that the powerful emperor was about to turn around and attack Chen Lan, a hurricane swept towards him from all directions. The emperor of Qianjin Tower focused all his attention on Chen Lan, and how could he block Chen Jing's sneak attack? Only a moment later, this powerful man in the late stage of the great emperor realm was torn into pieces by the surrounding hurricane. Boss, seeing their eldest brother, whom they had known day and night for nearly 1,000 years, being torn into pieces in front of him, the three great emperors of Qianjin Tower also completely lost their minds. Except for the third child who has run out of gas, the other two great emperors no longer care about Chen Lan and Chen Jing, they just want to vent their anger. But now these former allies, the 8 great emperors who are now besieging them, have become the best targets to vent their anger. You all deserve to die. Facing the life-threatening attacks of the 2 great emperors, even if they had a numerical advantage, the strong men of the 2 major forces of Central Continent and Beizhou would not feel comfortable. But Chen Jing seemed to be a little impatient with waiting. No matter what realm a strong man is, once he loses his mind, he will definitely be full of flaws. Chen Jing did not waste any more time. A hurricane flew towards the 2 of them like a blade. Almost at the same time, the wind blade passed through the bodies of the 3 great emperors in Qianjin Tower. After the wind blade dissipated, the scars of the 3 great emperors still had strong hurricane power, which was constantly eroding and destroying the tissues around the wounds, while frantically absorbing the vitality of the 3 great emperors. In just a few breaths, the 3 remaining powerful emperors in Qianjin Tower were reduced to a few withered bones. Seeing the tragic situation of the 4 great emperors in Qianjin Tower, the 8 great emperors in Central Continent and Beizhou could only pray that Chen Lan would keep his word. Because what the boss of Qianjin Tower said before made sense. After Qianjin Tower was destroyed, their life and death would only depend on Chen Jing's thoughts. Chen Lan is not that shameless. In his opinion, now that Dongzhou has Chen Jing, he can also dominate the entire Xuanling world. If you want to kill them, you can just find any reason later. There is no need to develop a reputation for bad faith here. Let's go. Thank you. When the 8 great emperors heard Chen Lan's words, they felt as if they had been granted amnesty, and immediately returned to their respective homes as quickly as possible to find their respective mothers. Chen Lan was very satisfied when she saw this situation. As a time traveler, he should be able to do whatever he wants. But when he turned his head, he met Chen Jing's hesitant eyes. Lenore, you should know that I will ascend soon, right? Chen Lan had no expression on his face when he heard this, and pointed in the direction where the 8 great emperors flew away. Can you still catch up and kill them now? Ah! Seeing Chen Lan's expressionless face, Chen Jing thought he knew that he was going to ascend. But he didn't expect that Chen Lan would suddenly ask him to catch up and kill the 8 powerful emperors. Obviously a second ago, Chen Lan let them go with great ease. Chen Lan saw that Chen Jing was confused, and finally couldn't hold it any longer. Dad, how did I know you were going to ascend? Didn't Grandpa suppress you for so many years? Why are you soaring just after you break through? One of you cheated on your grandson and the other on your son. Do you really want to kill me? Chen Lan felt that Chen Jing was in control of Dongzhou and had no fear, so he confidently let go of the 8 great emperors, thinking that he would cause trouble for them when he had time in the future. Unexpectedly, Chen Jing turned out to be just a one-time backer experience card, and it was gone after use. Chen Jing was actually a little embarrassed. He had clearly promised to break through to the realm of the great emperor before, but now he was about to leave the Xuanling realm. Your grandfather was able to suppress it because he was not from the Xuanling realm. He was shattered by someone and fell into the Xuanling realm. So as long as he doesn't completely repair his soul for one day, he can stay in the Xuanling realm for one more day. Once an ordinary monk reaches the immortal realm, his soul will be attracted by the breath of heaven. This is the rule of the Great Road and cannot be resisted. Hearing this, Chen Lan could only sigh deeply. He wanted to say something to Chen Jing, your fate is up to you. But thinking about the constant destruction and reorganization of the space around Chen Feng's body before, he still held back and did not say anything. Seemingly seeing Chen Lan's somewhat disappointed look, Chen Jing took the initiative to explain. But with my current strength, I can also take people to ascend with me. Chen Lan's eyes lit up when he heard this. Dad was more humane. If you say this proactively, you must be telling him that you can take him to run away with you. However, there is a difference in taking people to ascend together. It is different if there are many people or few people. Then how many people can you bring? Chen Jing heard the words and felt the power of attraction for a while. About 10 or so. After all, my strength is limited. If I were your grandfather, I would probably be able to take away the entire Chenfeng immortal dynasty. What? Chen Lan didn't know that it was okay. Now that she knew Chen Feng had such strength, but he only took grandma away, she couldn't help but want to scold him for being treasonous. Moreover, Chen Feng had to pretend to be beeping when he left, which caused him a lot of trouble. Chen Lan took several deep breaths before barely controlling her emotions. It doesn't matter, there is no danger. Fortunately, he can go to heaven now. Thinking of this, Chen Lan immediately started to calculate seriously. There are about 10 people, among them, we will count them as 15 people. If you ascend by yourself, there is no need to count. My mother must bring her along, and then, me, Qingqing, Honghong, Zhaoqing, Wanner, Chaoer, aunt, cousin, and 6th sister. The 3rd brother and his younger siblings have to inherit the legacy of the Chenfeng immortal dynasty, so there is no need to take them with them. That's 10, so the staff is quite sufficient. Then why don't you bring that brat Xiaoyun and Yuer with you? Xuanren should also want to go to heaven. Well, that's all I can think of for now. Dad, when do we leave? Chen Jing, who was on the side, wanted to stop Chen Lan from the first moment he spoke, but Chen Lan's mouth kept moving almost non-stop, giving him no chance to interrupt at all. After Chen Lan finished beeping like a barrage of words, Chen Jing's expression became extremely embarrassed. That, Lanur, you know. We, the Chen family, are handsome, capable, and fierce. So Dad has a few confidants, that's not too much, right? Chen Lan was stunned when he heard the words. He completely agreed with the previous words, but what did the latter mean? After so many years, Chen Jing has not been seen leaving the house. Does he still remember his confidant? But thinking of the beauties around him, Chen Lan also expressed his understanding. I totally understand. Dad, tell me, how many confidants do you have? There are still 2 places. If there are not enough, Xiaoyun will let him continue to practice in the Xuanling realm. Xiaoyun. So, love disappears, right? Of course Chen Lan understood, and generously gave up a promotion spot for his apprentice. As long as he is allowed to ascend and continue to hold Chen Feng's thigh, he is even willing to help Chen Jing enlighten Sun Jishu. Not many, only 18. Chen Jing completely ignored Chen Lan's life and death, and those 7 words shocked Chen Lan for the whole day. Seize the young master. Chen Lan has even begun to doubt her ears. What happened to this world? How come Chen Jing, a guy with thick eyebrows and big eyes, also has a harem? Chen Jing was not surprised when he saw Chen Lan's reaction. He just nodded slightly and told Chen Lan that he heard correctly. It's only 18, plus your mother's 19, but don't worry, I will be able to take them away if I work hard. Your talent far exceeds mine. Within 50 years at most, you will definitely be able to soar with your own strength. But your aunts, they can't. If I don't take them away, their lifespan will only be a few hundred years at most. When you reach the heaven, you will be able to break through to the immortal realm sooner or later. Even if you live tens of thousands of years, your acquaintance with me will not be in vain. You will understand, right? At first glance, Chen Jing's words seemed to make sense. But the essence is that he wants to leave the harem and does not want his son. I understand. You don't understand. Chen Lan is about to fall into self-doubt. These two are so obsessed with love and forgetting about their children and grandchildren. Chen Lan really couldn't help it, and 2 lines of tears fell from the corners of her eyes. Chen Jing's face was full of surprise when he saw that his eldest son was actually crying. Lanur, just like Xiao Yun, practice hard in the Xuanling realm. Your grandfather and I are waiting for you in the heaven realm. Chen Lan no longer wanted to dwell on this issue. After a long silence, she spoke to Chen Jing in a very gentle tone. I only have one request. When you ascend, please make less noise. It's best not to alert anyone and just walk quietly, okay? After the last experience, Chen Lan is now really afraid that Chen Jing will trick him again. Although the strength on his side is not bad now, 2 ascended immortals appeared in succession in the Dongzhou area. It is inevitable that someone will take advantage of you. You are not afraid of thieves stealing, but you are afraid that thieves will remember you. Chen Jing felt a little regretful when he heard this. If he didn't take the opportunity to show off for such a big thing as his ascension, would he still deserve the surname Chen? But before he could refuse, he met Chen Lan's tear-filled eyes. Then I remembered that I did feel a little bit guilty towards Chen Lan, so I had no choice but to reluctantly agree. Okay, I agree. Don't do this to me. After discussing everything, Chen Jing moved very quickly, as if he was afraid that Chen Lan would regret it. Lanur, there's no need to send her off. See you in heaven. After saying that, without waiting for Chen Lan to respond, he disappeared from the spot. Chen Jing did not break his promise, and he indeed left without making much noise. Even people from the Chenfang immortal dynasty only knew that Emperor Chenjing came out of seclusion and fought 1 against 10, making the invading enemies flee. Little did they know that their new emperor had already left the Xuanling world. Yi Shenji looked at the place where Chen Jing disappeared, feeling extremely emotional. Ascended people who have not appeared in the Xuanling world for thousands of years, in the eyes of the Chen family, it is as natural as eating and sleeping. Moreover, Chen Fang's decisive and vigorous move may just be because he has absolute confidence in Chen Jing and Chen Lan. But Chen Jing still chose to ascend alone without Chen Lan without hesitation, which was obviously a kind of trust in Chen Lan. And just when Chen Lan was angry and Yi Shenji sighed, the other 3 emperors of Shenzong really looked confused. Chen Jing came and left so quickly that they didn't even realize what happened just now. But there was one thing they remembered very clearly, and that was what Chen Lan had just said to them. Emperor, are we still going out to bully women, bully girls, and bully girls? Chen Lan was stunned when he heard this, and then a strange light slowly rose in his dim eyes. I see that the female emperor in Zhongzhou Lingwu Pavilion just now still has her charm. Well, one of you can get a sack and help me pull her back. After hearing Chen Lan's words, several people recalled it. The only woman in the Lingwu Pavilion in Zhongzhou just now seemed to be the ancestor of the Lingwu Pavilion, a powerful person in the late stage of the great emperor who is now nearly 10,000 years old. Seeing that the 3 emperors of Shenzong were silent, Chen Lan turned his attention to Yi Shenji. Lao Yi, how about you go? You are not young anymore. Do you need a wife? While I still have some energy, I'll have a second child as soon as possible. If something goes wrong one day, someone must inherit the Shenzong's legacy. At this time, Chen Lan's happiness seemed to have returned. But according to the law of conservation of happiness, the happiness transferred to Chen Lan's face, and the happiness of the 4 great emperors of Shenzong disappeared. In the next year, the legend of Chenjing spread throughout the Xuanling world. All the major forces know that in Dongzhou, there is an emperor who can defeat 10 with 1. Dongzhou, which was originally the weakest, has now become the leader of the 5 continents in the Xuanling realm. The fear of Dongzhou among the major forces in the Xuanling world has reached an unprecedented level, and no one dares to covet Dongzhou's resources anymore. During this year, Dongzhou was peaceful and calm, and Chen Lan was naturally very leisurely. In addition to eating and sleeping every day, he practices hard. And he would take the initiative to practice, of course, only, yin-yang happy picture. After a full year of hard training, Chen Lan finally reached the late stage of Tianshu realm. Ah, I can't do it anymore. Chen Lan was the last to exert his strength, and, yin-yang happy picture, came to a perfect conclusion. Xie Qingqing and others were all exhausted at this time, leaving Chen Lan alone and sighing alone. Alas, this cultivation speed is still too slow. So in what year and month can I fly to heaven and get a girlfriend in heaven? If anyone heard Chen Lan's words, they would definitely want to go up and tear his mouth out. In just 1 year, from the middle stage of Tianshu realm to the late stage, even a peerless monster in the heaven would probably have difficulty achieving it. But this is indeed a bit slower for Chen Lan. After all, his previous breakthroughs in cultivation were never achieved through time and practice. In his opinion, cultivation is just a good way of entertainment, and it can also help Xie Qingqing and Meng Hong practice quickly. Thinking of the system that had not made a sound for a whole year, Chen Lan secretly sighed. No, we still have to find the Son of Destiny. The Son of Destiny is the source of cultivation. Thinking back to those days, the 5 Destiny Sons of Dongzhou contributed so much to him in terms of cultivation and skills. But since Chu Jun died, Dongzhou was unified, and the fate of the entire Dongzhou was cut off by him at once. Dongzhou's luck is tied to Chen Lan, so there will never be a Destiny child in Dongzhou again. As for his good disciple Xiaoyun, as a son of heavenly destiny, he has been in seclusion since he returned from a trip half a year ago. Anyone who knows the Son of Destiny knows that in the life of the Son of Destiny, there are only 2 states besides pretending. Either running for his life or in retreat. And Xiaoyun is at this critical moment now. As for Huangshu, since he was cleansed, not only has his strength been weakened by 3 points, but his luck has also become much thinner. After going through a series of elimination methods, Chen Lan suddenly thought of someone. Feng Li. Yes, she is also a Tiandao level, so she should have wool to harvest. When thinking of Feng Li, that almost flawless face appeared in Chen Lan's mind. That is a kind of beauty that has reached its peak. I am afraid that Chen Lan's succubus physique will have to evolve a few more times and her appearance will be added a few more times before she can reach that level. The more Chen Lan thought about it, the more tempted she became. In the end, it was just to improve her own cultivation. He decided to go to Nanzhou to find Feng Li. See if you can find an opportunity. Get some experience from her so you can upgrade. Jihieji. Chen Lan couldn't help but let out a kind laugh. Early the next morning, she put everyone into the jade pendant space and quickly traveled towards Nanzhou. With Chen Lan's understanding of the field of space laws, even the space barriers of the endless sea cannot stop him. After this breakthrough in cultivation, he can even use space shuttle directly in the endless sea and fly across the endless sea in a short time. It only took 3 days for Chen Lan to arrive in Nanzhou. On the northeast coast of Nanzhou, Chen Lan directly crossed the coast defense and teleported to the depths of Nanzhou. This is an operation that only Chen Lan can do, because ordinary people simply cannot use space teleportation in the endless sea. Once someone flies from the depths of the endless sea, even the powerful emperor will be discovered immediately. After arriving at Nanzhou, Chen Lan was surprised to find that there seemed to be something wrong with the spiritual power here. Compared with Dongzhou, Nanzhou's spiritual power is now extremely thin, not even half of that of Dongzhou. Is this the mysterious power that Yi Shenji mentioned before? Chen Lan was very curious. He had never seen that weird power, but the current situation was almost the same as what Yi Shenji had described before. No matter what, let's find Feng Li first. He believed in the setting of Yi Fengli, the Son of Destiny at the level of Heavenly Tao. In Nanzhou, this year was enough for her to become world famous. The fact was indeed as Chen Lan expected, he didn't even bother to inquire. With his abnormal eyesight and hearing, he had already heard about the master of the Feng family from some Nanzhou monks. Have you heard? The head of the Feng family has returned to Fengwu City with the surviving members of the Feng family. In a restaurant in a city, Chen Lan accurately captured 2 people discussing the Feng family. What? Wasn't the Feng family destroyed by Qianjin Tower? How dare you go back to Qianjin Tower? The middle-aged man who spoke first looked like you didn't understand. What do you know? I have first-hand information that Qianjin Tower offended a big shot and all 5 great emperors were killed. They have offended so many people over the years, and now they can't even protect themselves. How can they have time to take care of the Feng family? The young man he spoke to looked surprised. What? They are all dead. Those are the 5 great emperors. Do you think they are killing chickens? The middle-aged man nodded in confirmation upon hearing this. My second uncle's neighbor's son's cousin is from Qianjin Tower. This is absolutely true. It seems to have offended a big shot in Dongzhou. The young man completely believed him this time and couldn't help but sigh. Qianjin Tower has been domineering for so many years, and this time it can be considered retribution. It's just that after the Feng family was destroyed, there is not much blood left now. I heard that the only strong one is the head of the Fengli Feng family who just broke through to the Tianshu realm. No matter how the Qianjin Tower declines, dozens of Tianshu realm experts can still take it out. No matter how amazing the Feng family master is, if he returns to Fengwu City at this time, wouldn't he be going to die? The middle-aged man immediately shook his head after hearing this, and then lowered his voice. You understand the truth, but will Master Feng not understand it? She did not return alone. It is said that she gathered dozens of sect forces, large and small, who had a grudge against Qianjin Tower, and took advantage of Qianjin Tower's damage to counterattack together. If Qianjin Tower is focused on the head but not on the back, I'm afraid it won't be able to defend it. The young man nodded and couldn't help but admire the talent and ability of the Feng family master. Not only was her appearance peerless, she also broke through to the Tianshu realm at a young age. After her family's demise, she regained her strength and built her home again in just 1 year. It is comparable to the legendary emperor of Dongzhou who has never been seen before or since. They don't know what's so extraordinary about Dongzhou, but they know that the supreme being in Nanzhou, Qianjin Tower, and all 5 great emperors, all fell in Dongzhou. Because of this, the Dongzhou emperor's prestige in the entire Xuanling world has risen sharply this year. Even Feng Li was able to gather so many people because there were rumors that Feng Li and the emperor of Dongzhou knew each other. It was also because of her that the emperor of Dongzhou only killed the emperor of Qianjin Tower and spared the emperors of Central Continent and Beizhou. And it is said that this emperor of Dongzhou is also the same as the head of the Feng family, with peerless appearance and unparalleled handsomeness. Just as the two of them were talking more and more enthusiastically, Chen Lan stepped forward with a smile and asked, Brothers, may I ask how to get to Fengwucheng? When chatting with friends and being interrupted by strangers, people tend to feel a little unhappy. But when they saw Chen Lan's appearance, they couldn't help but be stunned. After a while, the middle-aged man, who was obviously more knowledgeable, came to his senses first. I'm afraid this little brother is not a local. How could there be anyone in Nanzhou who doesn't know Fengwu City? It is the legendary place where the ancient phoenix fell. All Nanzhou monks must go to Fengwu City when they are born and travel to appreciate the remaining power of the phoenix. Chen Lan nodded. Brother has good eyesight. I am from Dongzhou. I just arrived in Nanzhou today. I often heard people talking about Fengwu City along the way. I am very curious. The middle-aged man nodded, and then without any more nonsense, he directly told Chen Lan the location. After Chen Lan determined the location, he took out a top-quality spiritual stone and placed it on the table. Thank you both, I'll treat you to this meal. After finishing speaking, the space fluctuated, and Chen Lan disappeared from the spot, leaving only the two people confused. Big brother, he is in the Tianshu realm. The young man was already a little at a loss, but he knew that traveling through space could only be accomplished by those in the Tianshu realm. But the middle-aged man, who was well informed, shook his head numbly. There is a large array of stable space in the city. Generally, Tianshu realm cannot travel through the space. The young man's eyes widened when he heard this. You mean, that young man just now is a powerful emperor? The middle-aged man shook his head again, and then looked at the top-quality spiritual stone on the table. Coming from Dongzhou, with peerless appearance, astonishing cultivation, and generous spending. The middle-aged man hasn't finished speaking yet, but these are enough to explain Chen Lan's identity. Emperor of Dongzhou, Chen Lan, who has understood the laws of space, has the ability to control space as well as any powerful emperor. Just a moment later, Chen Lan arrived near Fengwu City. The reason why he did not teleport directly into Fengwu City was because Chen Lan discovered that there were two groups of people fighting outside Fengwu City. The surviving members of the Feng family were forming a large formation to confront the monks from Qianjin Tower. In the sky, a total of 23 Tianshu realm experts with different cultivation levels surrounded a figure in the early stage of Tianshu realm. Although the figure was wearing battle armor and had a gauze face, it still couldn't stop its graceful figure and outstanding style. Chen Lan found Feng Li in the crowd at a glance. According to the normal plot, Feng Li, as the son of destiny, must explode at the critical moment and then kill the enemy. But Chen Lan's main purpose of coming here is to gain experience. How can he let Feng Li pretend to be in front of him? Roar, roar. After a dragon roar rang out, thousands of dragon roars rang out immediately afterwards. Thousands of giant black ice dragons were overwhelming, almost covering the entire sky of Fengwu City. As Chen Lan's cultivation level increased, Zanbing Long Zhang's power also continued to increase. The giant dragon that could not be avoided instantly rushed towards the formation of monks in Qianjin Tower and the strong men in the Tianshu realm. The concept God is always invincible. No one can escape Xuanbing Longxiang's attack. The vast battlefield was stopped in an instant by Chen Lan. Because they didn't know who made the move, both parties could only disperse first. Feng Li, who was originally besieged and was a little embarrassed, also returned to the Feng family camp. On the Qianjin Tower side, cracks have begun to appear in the monk formation. Dozens of Tianshu realm powerhouses seriously injured 12 early-stage powerhouses. The rest of the Tianshu realm experts were also somewhat injured. Everyone in Qianjin Tower had fear in their eyes, because the person coming was obviously coming towards them. Moreover, the strength of the person coming is unfathomable. If he can achieve such an effect with one move, he may even be a powerful emperor. But before they had time to ask, Chen Lan's mean voice, accompanied by his breathtaking appearance and behavior, appeared in front of everyone. People across from you, listen up, men stand on the left and women on the right. You, yes, I'm talking about you, stand in the middle. The one pointed by Chen Lan was a handsome-looking Tianshu realm powerhouse. He has a delicate body and a beautiful face. He is wearing a suspender and has a stroke, making him look like a beauty. But Chen Lan could tell that he was definitely a man, and after reaching the Tianshu realm, he could basically control his own appearance. He obviously likes this type of person, no wonder Chen Lan asked him to stand in the middle. You, boom. Before the powerful man in the Shu realm had finished speaking that day, a pillar of fire shot up from his feet into the sky, instantly turning him into ashes. Chen Lan really couldn't hold it back and still couldn't see everything. And around the ashes, the Tianshu realm powerhouses in Qianjin Tower were too frightened to move. Although the handsome man in front of them seems to be only at Tianshu level, they all know that no one here can be his enemy. After all, Chen Lan interrupted all of their fights with one move, and instantly destroyed a strong man in the middle stage of Tianshu realm. After Chen Lan finished everything, he turned his eyes to the opposite side. Do you want me to say it again? Chen Lan's words are very obvious, men are on the left and women are on the right, start now. It's just that how can the strong men in Qianjin Tower be so obedient? If they can't be beaten, why can't they run away? When it comes to running away, if one person takes the lead, others will follow. But most people still choose to continue to wait and see. After all, the strength shown by Chen Lan is too amazing. Sure enough, escaping was not as easy as imagined. Those who found that they could not escape through space flew around at the fastest speed. But when they flew to a certain distance, a ripple in space appeared, and they appeared in their original position again. What awaited them at their original location was a pillar of fire that could burn everything to ashes. In just a few breaths, 5 more Tianshu realm experts fell from Qianjin Tower. 5, 4, 3. Chen Lan didn't say any more nonsense, but just started counting down to 5. No one understood what Chen Lan meant now. Tiandao Chenlin kept counting down, and they moved quickly to both sides, men on the left and women on the right, and even lined up thoughtfully. Seeing that these disobedient guys finally lined up, Chen Lan nodded with satisfaction, turned around and walked towards Feng Li behind him. Miss Feng Li, we meet again. Chen Lan's smile was so gentle that not only the children of the Feng family, but also Feng Li herself was infected. Thank you, Emperor Dongzhou, for your help. Feng Li bowed her hands in a very respectful manner, thanking Chen Lan for taking action again. And the people around, whether they were from the Feng family or Qianjin Tower, couldn't help but hold their breath after hearing Feng Li's words. Is this the rumored emperor of Dongzhou? As expected, he is extremely handsome and has superb skills. The monks in Qianjin Tower are even more desperate to cry. You are the emperor of Dongzhou. You should have told me earlier. All 5 of our great emperors were wiped out by you. Of course we chose to surrender. But Chen Lan shook her head when faced with Feng Li's behavior. He continued to take a step forward, reaching out and raising Feng Li's hand. Miss Feng Li is still so polite, just call me Chen Lan. Feng Li was helped up by Chen Lan's hand and was so startled that she took half a step back. Chen Lan didn't ask her if she was serious about taking half a step back. He just smiled and pointed at the 2 teams of a man and a woman lined up opposite. Miss Feng Li, I'll leave the people over there to you. At your disposal. Feng Li stopped being pretentious this time and glanced at the person behind her, signaling her to send someone to imprison them first. It's just that this person was still immersed in Chen Lan's appearance and couldn't extricate himself. He just stared at Chen Lan blankly, completely unaware that the head of his family was staring at her viciously. Feng Yi. Feng Li was a little embarrassed and shouted loudly, which brought the man named Feng Yi back to reality from his daze. Feng Yi was shocked when she heard this, and then she realized that she had lost her composure just now. Yes. After a quick response, he led the people towards the queue on the opposite side. On the other side, after learning that Chen Lan was the emperor of Dongzhou, he even more completely cut off his resistance. Resist the emperor of Dongzhou? Just kidding. The finishing work was completed quickly. Feng Li had no plans to kill anyone. Except for some truly waste people, she chose to let those who surrendered in Qianjin Tower continue to live. After everything was ready, Feng Li invited Chen Lan. Emperor, Master Chen Lan has come all the way. I'm afraid he hasn't experienced the scenery of Nanzhou yet. After taking care of the family affairs later, I will personally show Master Chen the remaining power of the Phoenix, which is famous in Nanzhou. Chen Lan nodded. Although he came here to find Feng Li this time, after listening to the words of the 2 men before, he also became interested in Phoenix Yue. Accompanied by Feng Li, Chen Lan seemed to have remembered something while walking towards the city. By the way, Miss Feng Li, I also heard another interesting rumor when I heard that you returned to Fengwu City. Feng Li was also a little curious when she heard this. She also wanted to know what kind of rumors made Chen Lan find it interesting. Chen Lan suddenly stopped and stared into Feng Li's eyes seriously. I heard that the emperor of Dongzhou only killed the emperor of Qianjin Tower, but spared the emperors of Zhongzhou and Beizhou, all because of Miss Feng Li. Feng Li was stunned when she heard this. She never expected that Chen Lan would mention this matter. Of course she knew this rumor. Although she didn't spread it, she had to admit that this rumor helped her a lot this year. But now that the rightful owner is in front of him, he looks like he is here to ask questions, so he still needs to explain quickly. Mr. Chen, don't get me wrong. I do know about this rumor, but it is not mine. Chen Lan asked her to explain and quickly shook her head. No, Miss Feng Li misunderstood. I'm just saying this to tell the girl. This is not a rumor. When I first devoted myself to getting rid of the Nanzhou Emperor, it was indeed because of Miss Feng Li. Chen Lan's eyes were firm and fiery, staring intently at Feng Li's eyes exposed through her veil. Even though she was wearing a veil, Chen Lan could still see that Feng Li's face was turning red at a speed visible to the naked eye. Bah! Just as Chen Lan was recalling other flirtatious words, a sharp cry sounded from the center of Fengwu City. At the same time, a phantom of a phoenix bird slowly rose. In the east of Fengwu City, the shadow of a phoenix bird is flying towards here. The next moment, the phoenixes flew together, the 2 divine birds were closely linked to each other, and the 7-colored light enveloped the entire Fengwu City. At this moment, the long-lasting aura left in Fengwu City is no longer the residual power of the phoenix, but the real divine power of the phoenix. Although the phoenixes flying together in the sky were just phantoms, they were comparable to any other phenomena in the world and made the whole world celebrate. Being in this scene is a shock that cannot be described in any words. This is true auspiciousness and a sign that the Nanzhou Feng family is about to prosper. The phoenix comes back to its hometown like a phoenix, and travels around the world to seek its phoenix. The phoenix is here to live with me, and I have to entrust her daughter to be my concubine forever. Pretending to beep is to make everyone confused when they are awake. When everyone is confused, make them even more confused. Chen Lan's 2 sentences of Feng Chu Huang also had the desired effect. Everyone around looked at Chen Lan intoxicated. It seemed that at this moment, Chen Lan's light was comparable to the phoenix in the sky. Even Feng Li couldn't help but sigh. There is such a dazzling man in this world. In the sky, Feng and Huang paused for a moment after Chen Lan's words came out. Feng Nao's eyes are moving, and it seems that it is not as simple as a ghost. After hovering in the sky for a few times, it rushed straight towards Chen Lan. All this happened so fast. Chen Lan always thought that this was just an ordinary vision of heaven and earth, but she didn't expect that this phoenix bird had independent consciousness. It's broken, come at me. Chen Lan exclaimed and was about to run away. But before he could make any move, the phoenix bird directly turned into a 5-color divine light and penetrated into Chen Lan's chest. Chen Lan raised his hand to block it, but it was of no use. The 5-color divine light passed through his hand and disappeared into his body. It's over, I'm not clean anymore. At this time, Chen Lan only felt that she was impure and just wanted to take a bath with Feng Li as soon as possible. And the phoenix bird in the sky was watching all this quietly from beginning to end, as if it was all a matter of course. Li, when the phoenix bird saw that the divine light transformed from the phoenix bird completely disappeared, it let out a cry that resounded through the sky. Then, it looked around and aimed at Feng Li. Emission. Just like before when Feng Nao entered Chen Lan's body, Feng Li had no time to escape and couldn't stop it. After the phoenix bird also completely disappeared, the entire Fengwu city suddenly erupted with a phoenix power that shot straight into the sky. All the phoenix power left in Fengwu city surged up, and then split into 2, gathering towards Chen Lan and Feng Li. As the power of the phoenix gathered more and more, behind Chen Lan and Feng Li, nearly solid phantoms of the phoenix bird and phoenix bird appeared respectively. Although the phantom was only half a person tall, the power of the phoenix emitted by any one of them was no weaker than the remaining power of the phoenix in the entire Fengwu city. Chen Lan was still immersed in the pain of no longer being pure, but Feng Li was shocked, and a terrifying aura instantly erupted. Boom! Tianshu realm is in the middle stage. Chen Lan's attention was immediately drawn back, and she looked at Feng Li standing aside in a daze. Then he looked expectantly at the phantom of the phoenix bird behind him, as if asking, "Where am I?" But the phoenix bird phantom seemed to have completely lost its spiritual intelligence at this time, turning into a force of blood and integrating into Chen Lan's body. Chen Lan wants to cry but has no tears. They are both phoenixes, so why are they so different? He put all the responsibilities on Feng Nao, completely ignoring that the reason why Feng Li was able to break through was because of her own insights, not because Feng Nao directly gave her cultivation. Immediately afterwards, the phoenix bird also integrated into Feng Li's body, and under Feng Li's control, it restrained all the phoenix aura. Chen Lan could feel that after the phoenix bird integrated into his body, a subtle and flexible phoenix bird pattern appeared on his back. As long as he poured spiritual power into it, he could mobilize the phoenix bird's divine power. What he was more concerned about was whether there was a phantom of the phoenix bird on Feng Li. If there was, he wanted to take a look. For no other reason than to simply appreciate art. After the phoenix phenomenon completely disappeared, Chen Lan and Feng Li clearly felt that there was a force connecting them together. Chen Lan felt the hot breath flowing through his blood, and his whole body felt like he had been injected with chicken blood, as if he had endless strength. The phoenix is singing on that high hill. The phoenix trees are growing on that high hill and the rising sun is rising there. While Chen Lan's thoughts were running wild, Feng Li subconsciously read out a passage. These words sounded mysterious, and Chen Lan was very curious when she heard them. After all, according to common sense, the more incomprehensible something is, the more awesome it is. What's this? After hearing this, Feng Li looked towards the east of Feng Wucheng and began to recall. My ancestor told me when I was young. There has always been a rumor in Fengwu City that when the phoenixes fly together, the place where the phoenixes fell in the east of Fengwu City will appear. Chen Lan's eyes lit up when he heard this. The place where the phoenix fell. No matter which world they are in, real dragons and phoenixes are absolute top creatures. Whether it's the reason for Phoenix's death or the treasures left behind by Phoenix, they are both things that make people extremely curious. Feng Li nodded, retracted her gaze from the distance, and looked at Chen Lan again. Chen Lan had calmed down at this time and carefully felt the pattern behind him. There was a faint force pulling it to a corner in the east. Feeling Feng Li's gaze, Chen Lan knew immediately that Feng Li must have felt that place as well. Are you still busy? Now that we have a direction, what are we waiting for? Otherwise, people would feel a little uncomfortable if they were always being pulled by this force. Feng Li shook her head. All the enemies had been dealt with by Chen Lan, and now Fengwu City had become the domain of the Feng family again. Moreover, with Chen Lan, the emperor of Dongzhou, making such an incident, there are not many people in the entire South continent who dare to provoke the Feng family. Just leave the rest to Feng Yi and the others. I can feel that force calling us, very strongly, yet very weakly. Chen Lan nodded. Ever since the phoenix entered their bodies respectively, there has been a subtle connection between the two of them. If you probe carefully, you can even feel each other's feelings. Let's go. Chen Lan stretched out his hand towards Feng Li, gesturing for Feng Li to take it. Feng Li's face turned red obviously, but she didn't refuse. The moment their hands came into contact, the power of Phoenix and Phoenix converged. A five-color divine light lit up from where their hands touched, and then shot toward the east. Feng Li was still at a loss when Chen Lan suddenly held her hand, but she was suddenly pulled up by Chen Lan and flew away quickly following the divine light. The divine light did not leave very far, and stopped about dozens of miles east of Fengwu City. It was a dead sycamore tree. The height is only half a person's height, and only the last half of the leaves are left on the tree, swaying in the wind as if they might fall at any time. Chen Lan held Feng Li tightly with her left hand, stretched out her right hand, and caressed the sycamore tree involuntarily. The moment Chen Lan touched the withered sycamore branch, the whole tree suddenly lit up with a dazzling light. The light enveloped Chen Lan and Feng Li, and a gentle force appeared, gently pulling the two into a space. Passing through the space portal, Chen Lan and the two stepped into a beautiful world with gentle wind and calm clouds. This place is full of spiritual energy. A huge sycamore tree towering into the sky grows here. On every branch of the sycamore tree, there is a kind of bird family living. On the highest branch, a phoenix bird and a phoenix bird are lying there. This sycamore tree is like an independent world, where the entire family of birds lives. They live in harmony, and the whole world is a prosperous scene. Suddenly one day, an extremely dirty smell appeared in front of the sycamore tree. Chen Lan had never seen this smell before, but it felt inexplicably familiar. It seemed that the strange aura that affected Huangshu and others, as well as the succubus aura that he himself exuded all the time, were included in it. The moment the strange aura came into contact with the sycamore leaf, the leaf immediately began to wither. The sycamore leaf, which contained the infinite vitality of heaven and earth, was entangled by this aura, slowly devouring it, and could not get rid of it no matter what. Immediately afterwards, several nearby sycamore leaves began to wither. As this aura spread wider and wider, eventually, all branches were wrapped in this aura. After being wrapped in this turbid aura, both spiritual power and vitality were passing quickly. The birds living on this branch suddenly became crazy, they were angry, they mourned, and they hated. Affected by this chaotic emotion and boundless desire, they began to fight among themselves. At the same time, some of the bird tribe actually began to attack the bird tribe on other nearby branches. They become bloodthirsty and warlike, loving aggression and possession. In the end, this clan, which completely lost themselves, finally went completely extinct. Together with this branch of the sycamore tree, it turned into ashes. But this turbid aura did not die with them. Instead, during this period of time, this aura was still spreading crazily around. More and more branches and sycamore leaves are polluted, and more birds are affected by this turbid atmosphere, becoming selfish and dirty. As the scope of pollution became larger and larger, the aura of the entire space began to become thinner. Phoenix, who was far away at the top, also discovered the anomaly here. As the emperor of the bird clan, they would never let this aura destroy the peace of the bird clan and their home of Wadong Tree. However, after trying countless methods, Phoenix discovered that this aura could not be removed at all. They tried their best, but they could barely delay the corrosion of the sycamore trees. And when blocking this breath, they themselves were unknowingly polluted by this turbid breath. As creatures that existed when the world was first born, their hearts are extremely pure, and the turbid atmosphere cannot infect their hearts. But it can slowly corrode their spiritual power and body. They can resist it in a short period of time, but if they deal with it over time, even Phoenix will have difficulty sustaining it. Just as the aura of the Phoenix was fading, these polluted races completely lost their minds and attacked their emperor in groups. Firstly, Phoenix's strength was greatly damaged, and secondly, he couldn't bear to harm the bird clan and the branches of the Phoenix tree. After sealing most of its bloodline power, the Phoenix's true form was still devoured by the already crazy bird tribe. After the bird clan's emperor disappeared, the bird clan lost its leader, and what awaited them was endless war and killing. This bloody war lasted for countless thousands of years, and the last of the ancient bird tribe died in the battle. The original sycamore tree that towered into the sky, and any one of its hundreds of branches could support a family of living beings, has also changed into what Chen Lan saw outside this space before. That sycamore leaf swaying in the wind is its last hope. When it falls, it heralds the complete fall of the phoenix and the sycamore tree, and also represents the end of the entire ancient bird family. The scene in front of Chen Lan and Feng Li kept changing, and finally turned into the withered sycamore tree. The two people had mixed feelings in their hearts. In a short period of time, they experienced the rise and demise of a prosperous race. The culprit is the turbid aura that makes living beings lose their minds. After everything ended, a phoenix bird and a phoenix bird flew out from the trunk of the withered sycamore tree, one high and one low. They stood on the two remaining branches of the sycamore tree, looking at each other with Chen Lan and Feng Li. Feeling the reality in front of them, they know that what is in front of them is reality now. Looking at the two phoenix birds in front of him that were shining with five-color divine light, Chen Lan couldn't help but reach out and want to touch their wings. Feng Wang had no intention of resisting and seemed to agree to Chen Lan's touch. But in the next moment, Feng now spoke, which frightened Chen Lan so much that he retracted his hand. "Hello, young men." Chen Lan was not frightened by the fact that the phoenix could talk, but it was just when you wanted to reach out and touch a cute little animal. That little animal suddenly starts talking to you, and calls you like a young man at the same time, which would scare everyone. What you saw just now is what our ancient bird tribe has experienced up to now. At that time, we felt that we could not resist this turbid atmosphere, so we proclaimed the power of our bloodline. We were originally planning to try our best to delay, waiting for the next generation to surprise and save our bird clan. But I never thought that millions of years have passed and no one in this world has the qualifications to resist this power except that one person. Chen Lan was a little curious after hearing this. Even Phoenix admitted that there was only one person in a million years. How amazing and talented this person must be. He couldn't help but ask, "Who is that person?" Feng now shook his head when he heard this. "I'm afraid no one remembers his name, and you won't be able to see him until the last step." Chen Lan had no choice but to shake his head when he heard this. There was really nothing he could do. Everyone in the fantasy world was a riddler. Feng now didn't give Chen Lan a chance to complain, and then continued to explain. "You two are the second or third people we have seen in thousands of years who have the opportunity to reach that level." Having said this, Feng now turned to face Feng Li. "You, blessed with the destiny of heaven, will surely reach the pinnacle of this realm after thousands of years. If you have some enlightenment, you will be able to make breakthroughs and reach that realm." After finishing speaking, he turned to face Chen Lan. "You are not between heaven and earth, and you are not among the fate. You seem to be a void, but you still exist. If one day someone can break this dilemma, I'm afraid it can only be you. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more."